SAO is honestly one of the worst anime out there. The characters are super boring and have zero personality. The writing is really lazy, with so many plot holes and stuff that doesn't make sense. The action is just flat and never exciting. It's all the same thing over and over. And the story is so predictable. Like every twist and turn is something you've seen a million times before, with no real effort put into making it good. And if you're into MMOs, the game mechanics are all over the place and make zero sense. The whole system feels rushed and poorly thought out. The design is just bad. Nothing about it feels realistic or even remotely fun. It's clear the author didn't bother doing any research into how actual MMOs work. If you actually play MMOs, you'll be offended by how poorly SAO treats the whole genre. It's like they took everything wrong with MMOs and made it worse just for the sake of the plot. It's insane how anyone could enjoy SAO. They must have never seen a decent movie or show in their life. It's like they have no taste or standards. SAO starts off bad and just keeps getting worse. It's a waste of time. The SAO fanbase is just as awful and will attack anyone who doesn't worship their precious show. It's like they're in complete denial. Stay as far away from SAO and its awful fanbase as possible. You don't want anything to do with this trash. It's a mess all around, and the last thing you need is to get dragged into that nightmare. SAO and its fanbase have earned every bit of the horrible reputation they have. Seriously, don't go anywhere near it. Save yourself the frustration. If you're looking for something that's actually worth your time, definitely check out the Yu-Gi-Oh series. It's genuinely one of the best shows. The action is intense, the duels are full of excitement, and the stakes are always high, keeping you on the edge of your seat. The characters are amazing. Each one is unique, with real growth and depth that makes you care about them. You can't help but get attached, and the story is packed with twists and turns that keep you hooked from start to finish. Whether you're into strategy, friendship, or just an all-around great adventure, Yu-Gi-Oh has it all. It's the kind of show that you can watch over and over and still find something new to appreciate. The show never gets boring. It's always packed with fun. Every episode keeps you invested with new surprises, intense duels, and thrilling moments that never let up. There's always something happening to keep you engaged and entertained from start to finish. The Yu-Gi-Oh community is amazing too. It's full of friendly, down-to-earth people who are always welcoming and supportive. Whether you're new to the game or a long-time fan, they're always happy to help, share tips, or just chat about the series. It's one of those communities that makes you feel right at home and like you're part of something special. If you're into mythology, you'll absolutely love Yu-Gi-Oh! The series is heavily inspired by various myths and legends, with so many cards and characters drawing from deep-rooted stories from all over the world. It blends ancient mythological elements with modern twists, giving fans a rich, layered experience that adds so much depth to the entire show. If you enjoy exploring mythological themes, Yu-Gi-Oh! Offers a treasure trove of it, making each duel and storyline even more intriguing. In this video, let's dive into some of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Movies.
We're analyzing Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions, and seeing how it compares to Egyptian mythology. The Millennium Puzzle isn't from mythology. The Millennium items are unique to the series, though they draw inspiration from mythological themes. The Millennium Eye resembles the Eye of Horus, which is a significant symbol in Egyptian mythology. It represents protection, royal power, and good health. The Millennium Ring, with its sharp-pointed design and mystical nature, could be compared to ancient amulets. The Millennium Puzzle is heavily inspired by Egyptian artifacts, especially those that show intricate craftsmanship and have hidden or mysterious qualities. The Millennium Necklace has a strong connection to themes of prophecy and foresight. The Millennium Key resembles ancient keys and ceremonial objects, used in various cultures including Egypt. The Millennium Rod is similar in design to scepters used by pharaohs and other powerful figures in ancient Egypt. Finally, the Millennium Scale is reminiscent of the scales, to weigh the souls of the dead against the feather of Maat, the goddess of truth and justice. Later in the movie, the Quantum Cube is revealed to be the 8th Millennium item. However, this isn't related to Egyptian mythology. Pyramids aren't directly from mythology, but they do appear in mythological contexts. Pyramids were built as tombs for pharaohs and important figures, reflecting the Egyptians' belief about the afterlife. The pyramids were meant to help the deceased ascend to the heavens, and join the gods like Ra, the sun god. Dark Magician isn't from mythology, but he might be inspired by general themes of magic and sorcery found in various mythologies. In Egyptian mythology, there were indeed powerful magicians and deities associated with magic, such as Heka, Isis, and Thoth. Yugi misses the pharaoh Atem. He's not a figure from mythology. Pharaohs are historical figures rather than mythological ones. They were ancient Egyptian rulers, while they're not mythological beings themselves. Many myths and religious stories in ancient Egypt involve pharaohs or gods interacting with them. Slifer the Sky Dragon, Gold Sarcophagus, and Monster Reborn are shown. While none of these come directly from mythology, they do incorporate mythological themes and ideas for inspiration. Slifer's Japanese name is Osiris, which which directly references the Egyptian deity Osiris, a major god associated with the afterlife, resurrection, and fertility. Slifer's red color evokes certain thematic elements. From Egyptian art and culture, red was sometimes associated with power, chaos, and the divine. It was also used to represent the desert and the life-giving force of the sun, reflecting both creation and destruction. Dragons appear in Egyptian mythology, but they're often depicted as serpent-like creatures, rather than the typical fire-breathing dragons found in other mythologies. One notable example is the serpent Apep or Apophis, who's considered the embodiment of chaos, and an enemy of Ra. Slifer having two mouths isn't a reference to any specific mythological creature. However, the concept of multi-headed or multi-mouthed dragons and serpents is common in various mythologies. Here's a cool tidbit. Slifer's name comes from Roger Slifer, a producer at 4Kids Entertainment, who played a major role in the English adaptation of Yu-Gi-Oh! Sarcophagi themselves aren't directly from mythology. Monster Reborn's Japanese artwork features an ankh. It represents eternal life and immortality. The ankh was also used in funerary art and rituals, emphasizing its role in the afterlife and the belief in an everlasting existence. It's one of the most recognizable symbols from Egyptian culture and mythology, reflecting the deep spiritual and religious values of the Egyptians. Igami sent some bullies to another dimension. In Egyptian mythology, there are concepts of different realms or dimensions, though they're described differently than in modern fantasy. One of the primary realms is the Duat. Souls of the deceased journey through the Duat after death, facing various trials and challenges before reaching their final destination. There aren't any well-known dragons from mythology that are specifically described as having blue eyes. White dragons do show up in different mythologies and folklore. In Welsh mythology, a white dragon represents the Saxons. Atem summons Celtic Guard of Noble Arms and Celtic Guardian. Elves aren't a part of Egyptian mythology, but they appear in various other mythologies. In Norse mythology, elves are split into two main types, light elves and dark elves. In Germanic folklore, elves are often portrayed as magical beings linked to nature. In modern fantasy, elves are often shown as elegant, immortal beings with magical abilities. In J.R.R. Tolkien's Middle-earth Legendarium, elves are one of the most important and ancient races. Atem banishes his monsters to summon a mirror. In Egyptian mythology, mirrors are associated with the goddess Hathor, who was linked to beauty, music, and fertility. Hathor was frequently depicted with a mirror, or holding one, symbolizing her role in reflecting beauty and joy. Igami mentions the term prophecy. Prophecies do have a place in Egyptian mythology, but they're much more common in Greek mythology. One of the most famous sources of prophecy is the Oracle of Delphi. People from all over Greece would visit to get guidance on various issues. Many tales in Greek mythology revolve around prophecies that shape the story. For example, the prophecy that Oedipus would kill his father and marry his mother is a key part of his tragic story. Similarly, the prophecy about Achilles' early death is crucial in the Iliad. Igami wields a power called a prana, or prana in the Japanese version. Prana is a Sanskrit word that translates to breath of life. It represents the vital energy that flows through and connects all things in the universe. Igami's real name is Diva. This isn't directly tied to any specific mythology, but has interesting roots in language. In Latin, diva means goddess or divine one. It's often used to refer to a female deity, or a revered woman with extraordinary talent, particularly in the arts. Diva's deck features cubic cards, which are mainly inspired by concepts and deities from Hinduism, rather than Egyptian mythology. Blade Garuda, the cubic beast, is based on Garuda, a powerful figure from Hindu and Buddhist mythology. Garuda is a mythical bird-like creature, often depicted as having a humanoid form with wings, and is considered a symbol of strength and speed. Buster Gundio, the cubic behemoth, is based on Gandharva, celestial beings from Hindu and Buddhist traditions. Gandharvas are often depicted as divine musicians and singers. Crimson Nova, the dark cubic lord, is based on Shiva, one of the principal deities in Hinduism. Shiva represents destruction and transformation. He has multiple arms, a third eye, and a powerful, fearsome presence. Crimson Nova Trinity, the dark cubic lord, is based on Trimurti, which represents the three main deities in Hindu cosmology: Brahma, the creator, Vishnu, the preserver, and Shiva, the destroyer. Together they embody the three essential aspects of the universe: creation, preservation, and destruction. Dark Garnix, the cubic beast, is based on Ganesha, a deity in Hinduism, known as the remover of obstacles, and the god of wisdom and intellect. Ganesha is often depicted with an elephant head. Duza, the meteor cubic vessel, is based on Dyaspida, a Vedic deity associated with the skies and heaven in Hinduism. Dyaspida is the sky father, and is linked with creation and the cosmic order. Giragayo, the cubic king, is based on Vayu, the Vedic god of the wind in Hinduism. Vayu is a powerful and dynamic force. Indiora Doomful, the cubic emperor, is based on Indra, a deity in Hinduism and Vedic traditions, known as the king of the gods, and the god of thunder, storms, and war. Vijam, the cubic seed, is based on Vishnu, one of the principal deities in Hinduism, known as the preserver and protector of the universe. Vishnu has multiple arms and a serene, benevolent expression. Vulcan Dragni, the cubic king, is based on Agni, the Vedic deity of fire in Hinduism. Agni is the divine messenger between gods and humans. Cubic ascension is based on moksha, a concept in Hinduism representing liberation and release from the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth. Cubic cubic causality is based on Sat Karyavada. It refers to the idea that effects are inherent in their causes, meaning that the qualities of the effect are already present within the cause, before the effect manifests. Cubic dharma is based on dharma, a concept in Hinduism and Buddhism, which refers to the moral law, duty, or righteousness that governs individual conduct in the universe's order. Cubic karma is based on karma, a fundamental concept in Hinduism. Karma refers to the principle of cause and effect, where a person's actions, whether good or bad, will influence their future experiences. Cubic mandala is based on mandala. A mandala is a geometric figure representing the universe. Cubic rebirth is based on samsara, where beings undergo continuous reincarnation until they achieve liberation or enlightenment. Cubic wave is based on the concept of aura, often associated with subtle energy fields, believed to surround living beings. Unification of the cubic lords is based on Tridevi, referring to the three principal goddesses, Saraswati, Lakshmi, and Parvati. Seto summons Obelisk the Tormentor from the ground. Obelisk isn't directly related to mythology, but his name draws inspiration from Egyptian themes. Obelisks are tall, four-sided monuments with a pyramid-like top. These were often erected as symbols of power and endurance. In Egyptian mythology, the color blue held significant symbolism and was often associated with the divine protection and fertility. Blue was linked to the sky and water, elements crucial for life and renewal. Blue was often used to depict gods and goddesses, signifying their divine nature. For example, gods like Amun and Hathor were sometimes shown with blue skin or garments, representing their connection to the heavens and their role in maintaining cosmic order. Blue was thought to have protective and healing properties. Amulets and artifacts in blue were believed to offer protection against evil and harm. This use of blue for protective charms reflects its association with safeguarding and well-being. Joey has a dream. In Egyptian mythology, dreams were seen as messages from the gods. Egyptians believed that dreams could offer guidance, warning, or insights into the future. This belief made dreams an important part of religious and daily life. Priests and scribes would analyze dreams to uncover their meanings. The stars are shown. In Egyptian mythology, stars are very important and closely tied to their gods and beliefs. The night sky itself was seen as divine. The goddess Nut, who represented the sky, was often shown arch over the earth, with stars scattered across her body. These stars were considered her children and were linked to the gods in the afterlife. Osiris is connected with the constellation Orion. This star pattern was believed to represent Osiris in the night sky. Joey is trapped in a dimension of his memories. In Egyptian mythology, the concept of memory isn't directly addressed as a central theme, but it does play an important role in their beliefs about the afterlife. The Egyptians believed that after death, the soul would be judged by the god Osiris. During this judgment, the heart of the deceased, which was thought to hold their memories, thoughts, and moral character, was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the goddess of truth. If the heart was light, it meant the person had lived a virtuous life and could enter the afterlife. Yugi uses a trap card called Dimension Sphinx. In Egyptian mythology, sphinxes are significant figures. They have the body of a lion and the head of a human, serving as guardians of sacred places. The most famous example is the Great Sphinx of Giza, which is associated with the pharaoh Khafre. Seto summons a salt wyvern. Wyverns are indeed part of mythology. They're dragon-like creatures, often depicted with two legs and a pair of wings. They're similar to dragons, but usually differ in having fewer limbs. Seto ritual summons his Blue Eyes Chaos Max dragon. Rituals are an important part of Egyptian mythology and religious practices. The ancient Egyptians performed a wide range of rituals to honor their gods, ensure the favor of deities, and secure a favorable afterlife. Yugi summons Apple Magician Girl. Apples don't play a significant role in Egyptian mythology, but in Greek mythology, apples are especially prominent. The golden apples of the Hesperides, which granted immortality, were closely guarded by the Hesperides and a dragon named Ladon. Heracles had to retrieve these apples as one of his 12 labors. Additionally, in the myth of Paris, a golden apple was awarded to Aphrodite, which led to the events of the Trojan War. In Norse mythology, apples are also important. The goddess Idun kept apples that granted the gods eternal youth. These apples were crucial for maintaining the gods' immortality and strength. Without them, the gods would age and lose their power. Magician girls as a specific concept aren't part of mythology, but they have roots in various mythological and folklore traditions, where female magic users and enchantresses play significant roles. Yugi summons Silver Gadget and Gold Gadget. Gadgets aren't a part of mythology. However, in Egyptian mythology, gold is important. It was associated with the gods and the divine, symbolizing eternal life and immortality. Gold was considered the flesh of the gods, and it was used extensively in religious artifacts and tombs to honor the deities. The famous funerary mask of Tutankhamun, crafted from gold, reflects this divine connection and the belief in eternal life. Ra was often linked with gold, symbolizing the sun's life-giving and unending power. In Greek mythology, gold represents wealth, divine favor, and purity. In Norse mythology, gold and silver appear in significant artifacts. The Ring of Power in the myth of Anvari is a magical gold ring, linked with both wealth and a curse. Similarly, Fafnir, or dragon, hoards a vast treasure of gold and silver. Atem summons Palladium Oracle Mahad. The term Palladium is used figuratively to signify something that offers protection or safety. In mythology, a Palladium palladium is a sacred object, or statue believed to protect a city or place. The most famous palladium was the statue of Pallas Athena, which was said to safeguard the city of Troy. The term palladium is derived from the Greek word palladion, which refers to this protective statue. Palladium is also a chemical element, with the symbol Pd, and atomic number 46. It's a precious metal used in various industrial applications, including electronics, jewelry, and catalytic converters. Oracles aren't a major part of Egyptian mythology. Oracles are more common in other mythologies, especially in Greek and Roman traditions. According to the lore, Mahad transformed into the Dark Magician, which ties into the card's effect. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Dark Magician from your hand, deck, or graveyard. This card has a female counterpart called Palladium Oracle Mana. Mana is a loyal and skilled magician who served alongside Mahad. After Mahad's transformation into the Dark Magician, Mana's powers grew, leading her to become the Dark Magician Girl. This connection is reflected in the card's effect. If it's destroyed by battle or card effect, you can special summon one Dark Magician Girl from your hand, deck, or graveyard. Seto transports his consciousness to the afterlife. There are two obelisks in front of the temple. Obelisks are often erected in pairs. This practice was common at the entrances of temples and other significant sites. The afterlife is a big part of Egyptian mythology and religious beliefs, and it was a major focus of their spiritual life. That's a wrap on our comparison of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions and Egyptian mythology. It's fascinating to see how the movie weaves elements of mythology into its story, giving us a fresh perspective on the classic series. Yu-Gi-Oh! The Dark Side of Dimensions is a fantastic movie that truly delivers for fans of the series. The animation is top-notch, bringing the iconic characters and duels to life with vibrant and dynamic visuals. The attention to detail in every scene enhances the overall experience and showcases the high-quality production. The voice acting is equally impressive, with the cast bringing their characters to life in a way that feels both authentic and engaging. Each performance adds depth and personality to the story. It was great to see the old characters back in action, and the nostalgia was definitely a highlight. I also enjoyed the introduction of the new cards, which added an exciting new layer to the game. It was cool to see how these fresh elements were integrated into the world we know and love. Overall, this movie is a must-watch for anyone who loves Yu-Gi-Oh! It captures the essence of what made the series great, and adds a new layer of excitement. What movie or show should we dive into next, and compare with its mythological roots? Drop your suggestions below, and stay tuned for more mythology-related videos.
Are you curious about the real Egyptian mythology behind Yu-Gi-Oh! The movie Pyramid of Light? Join us as we delve into the ancient legends that inspired the cards and the characters. We'll uncover fascinating connections and reveal surprising differences between fantasy and history. Get ready to explore the mystical world of Yu-Gi-Oh! Through the lens of Egyptian mythology like never before. It's explained that in ancient times, when the pyramids were newly built, Egyptian kings engaged in a game of immense power and consequence. They fought using magic and mythical creatures, seeking wealth and honor. This is not accurate to Egyptian history and mythology. While ancient Egypt is rich with mythology involving gods, magic, and supernatural elements, there is no historical evidence to suggest that Egyptian kings played games involving magic and monsters for riches and glory. These shadow games sparked a war that could have destroyed the world. However, a courageous pharaoh intervened and sealed the dark magic away forever within the mystical Millennium items. Ancient Egyptian history and mythology do not include stories about shadow games, wars caused by dark magic, or the existence of items like the Millennium items. A group of archaeologists find the lost tomb of Anubis. This is not a concept from Egyptian mythology. Anubis is the deity from ancient Egyptian mythology linked with the practices of mummification and the realms of the afterlife. Anubis's sarcophagus has a jackal's head on it, which is a reference to how he is often depicted as a man with a jackal's head. In ancient Egyptian mythology, gods and goddesses were often depicted with animal heads to symbolize their characteristics, powers, and roles in the natural and spiritual world. This practice, known as zoomorphism, was a way to visually represent the complex attributes of the deities and their connection to specific aspects of life and the cosmos. Each animal in Egyptian mythology had specific qualities and associations. By combining human and animal features, the gods embodied both human-like intelligence and divine animal-like qualities. For example, the falcon-headed god Horus symbolized kingship and divine protection. Anubis is the main antagonist of the movie, but he was not traditionally seen as a villain in ancient Egyptian mythology. Instead, he was a revered deity. Anubis was responsible for weighing the hearts of the deceased against the feather of Ma'at, representing truth and justice, to determine their fate in the afterlife. Anubis was depicted as a protector and guide, ensuring that the dead received proper rites and safe passage to the afterlife. His role was essential and positive, and he was highly respected by the ancient Egyptians. In ancient Egyptian mythology, Anubis occupies a prominent role, appearing in several significant myths and religious texts that highlight his importance in the realm of death and the afterlife. One of the most well-known myths involving Anubis is the Osiris myth. In this myth, Anubis is portrayed as the son of Osiris and Nephthys. After Osiris is murdered by his brother Set, Anubis assists Isis in embalming his body. Anubis's expertise in embalming and mummification plays a crucial role in the resurrection of Osiris and his subsequent ascension to become ruler of the underworld. A young boy named Yugi Muto solves the Millennium Puzzle. This is not from Egyptian mythology. It is a fictional artifact. It is part of a set of 7 Millennium items and plays a central role in the story. Yugi releases the soul of the pharaoh Atem. He is not a figure from Egyptian mythology. However, Atem is inspired by the concept of ancient Egyptian pharaohs and their connection to gods and magic. The name Atem is similar to Atum, an important deity in Egyptian mythology. Atum is a primordial god associated with creation and the setting sun. Exodia is a powerful creature within the Yu-Gi-Oh universe. When all 5 pieces of Exodia are assembled in the game, the player achieves an automatic victory. The concept of Exodia being separated into 5 cards and requiring all pieces to be brought together to summon its full power can be interpreted as a thematic nod to the story of Osiris's dismemberment and eventual reassembly. While Exodia is not a direct representation of Osiris, this element of its design does draw inspiration from the Osiris myth. The name Exodia might evoke a sense of something grand or apocalyptic, as it sounds similar to Exodus, which can imply a large-scale departure or a significant event, and Exodus is a term found in religious contexts, such as the biblical book of Exodus, which tells the story of Moses leading the Israelites out of Egypt. But this is more of a linguistic coincidence rather than a direct mythological reference. The Egyptian god cards are shown. They are inspired by Egyptian mythology, but they are not direct representations of specific deities. Here's an overview of each card and its mythological inspirations. Slifer the Sky Dragon. Osiris the Sky Dragon in the Japanese version. The name Osiris directly references Osiris, the god of the afterlife. While the card's powers and appearance do not directly correspond to Osiris's attributes, the name invokes a sense of ancient Egyptian power and mythology. Slifer the Sky Dragon's design, including its 2 mouths, doesn't directly correspond to a certain element from traditional Egyptian mythology. In ancient Egyptian mythology and art, creatures with multiple heads or unusual anatomical features were occasionally depicted, but not with 2 mouths like Slifer. Slifer's red color is significant. The color red holds an important meaning in Egyptian mythology and culture. It is a color with a dual symbolism, representing both life and destruction, which aligns with the complex and often dualistic nature of ancient Egyptian beliefs. On one hand, red is associated with life, vitality, and power. The ancient Egyptians used red ochre in cosmetics and art, symbolizing health and life. Red also represented the sun and the god Ra, who was a central figure in Egyptian mythology. The red disk of the sun was a potent symbol of Ra's life-giving power. On the other hand, red also had connotations of danger, chaos, and evil. It was the color of the desert, which the Egyptians saw as a hostile and chaotic place. This association with the desert linked red to Set, the god of chaos, storms, and disorder. Set was often depicted with red hair or eyes, emphasizing his connection to danger and chaos. The desert, known as the Red Land, was seen as Set's domain, where he ruled and brought about destruction. In rituals and writings, red ink was used to write words of warning or to signify evil beings and chaotic events. This dual symbolism made red a powerful and ambivalent color in Egyptian culture, embodying both the life-giving force of the sun and the destructive power of the desert and chaos. Here's a cool tidbit. Slifer the Sky Dragon in the English version is named after Roger Slifer, who was a producer at 4Kids Entertainment. This is why Slifer is called Slifer the executive producer in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Abridged series by Little Karibo. Obelisk the Tormentor. While there isn't a specific Egyptian deity named Obelisk, the term obelisk itself is rooted in Egyptian architecture. Obelisks were monumental pillars that were often erected in pairs at the entrances of temples, symbolizing the sun god Ra. Obelisk the Tormentor's immense power and intimidating presence can be seen as drawing inspiration from the grandeur and significance of these structures. Obelisk's blue color is notable. In Egyptian mythology and culture, the color blue held significant meaning, symbolizing various positive concepts such as the sky, the Nile River, creation, fertility, and protection. Blue was a highly valued color and was often associated with the gods and the divine. The color blue was linked to the creation and fertility myths. The god Amun, a creator god, was often often depicted with a blue face or wearing blue, symbolizing his association with creation and the primordial waters from which life emerged. Blue was also considered a protective color. Amulets and jewelry often featured blue stones like lapis lazuli and turquoise, believed to have protective and magical properties. These stones were used in various objects and ornaments to safeguard the wearer from harm and to invoke the god's protection.
The Winged Dragon of Ra. This card is most closely related to the sun god Ra, one of the most important deities in Egyptian mythology. Ra is often depicted as a falcon-headed man with a sun disk. The Winged Dragon of Ra embodies the power and majesty associated with Ra, though its specific abilities in the card game are fictional. The Winged Dragon of Ra has two other forms, Sphere Mode and Immortal Phoenix. The Sphere Mode draws inspiration from the concept of the Ba, which is a part of the soul in ancient Egyptian beliefs. The Sphere Mode of Ra represents a dormant or defensive state of the dragon, where it takes on a spherical form resembling an ancient Egyptian funerary urn, or a representation of the Ba. In Egyptian mythology, the Ba is often depicted as a bird with a human head, symbolizing the individual's personality or essence. The Sphere Mode of Ra reflects this concept by transforming the powerful dragon into a protective sphere, which can later be activated or transformed back into its more active forms in the game, symbolizing the dynamic nature of the deity and its mythological origins. Additionally, Ra was sometimes depicted as being born from a primordial egg, symbolizing creation and rebirth. The Sphere Mode represents Ra in a dormant state, resembling an egg-shaped sphere. This ties into the mythological motif of Ra's origin and transformation, making it a subtle but clear reference to the card's design. In Egyptian belief, the sun was often likened to an egg, believed to have been laid by Seb, a celestial goose, and which also gave birth to the phoenix. The Immortal Phoenix Mode references the mythical phoenix. In ancient Egyptian lore, the phoenix was known as the Bennu bird, a symbol of rebirth and renewal. It was closely associated with Ra, with its periodic self-immolation and rebirth, mirroring the sun's daily journey across the sky. The Immortal Phoenix Mode embodies themes of immortality, resurrection, and divine power, paralleling the symbolism of the Bennu bird in Egyptian mythology. The Winged Dragon of Ra's gold color is a crucial feature. In Egyptian mythology and culture, gold held immense significance, symbolizing the divine, immortality, and eternal life. This precious metal was revered not only for its natural beauty and luster, but also for its symbolic connections to the gods in the afterlife. Gold was closely associated with the sun and Ra. The Egyptians believed that Ra's flesh was made of gold, which represented the sun's eternal and indestructible nature. Gold was thought to embody the eternal radiance of the sun, and objects made of gold were often used in religious and funerary contexts to reflect this divine connection. The use of gold in tombs and funerary objects was widespread, reflecting the belief in its protective and eternal qualities. The famous funerary mask of Tutankhamun, crafted from gold, is a prime example of this. The mask was designed to ensure the king's safe passage to the afterlife, and to symbolize his divine status. Gold was also used in the construction of statues and amulets, signifying the god's presence, and offering protection to the deceased in their journey to the afterlife. Moreover, gold was seen as a material of perfection and purity. Unlike other metals, gold does not tarnish or corrode, which further enhances its association with eternity and the divine. Seto's ace monster is the Blue Eyes White Dragon, and he fuses 3 of them into the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. These are not from Egyptian mythology. Dragons or dragon-like creatures do appear in Egyptian mythology, though they may not be referred to as dragons. In the traditional sense we might think of today, one of the most notable examples is Apep or Apophis. Apep is a giant serpent or dragon, and is the embodiment of chaos and evil. He is the eternal enemy of the sun god Ra, and attempts to devour the sun each night. As it travels through the underworld, the mighty battle between Ra and Apep represents the struggle between order and chaos, with Ra's victory each dawn symbolizing the triumph of light and order over darkness and disorder. Seto is not from Egyptian mythology either. However, the name Seto is a reference to the Egyptian god Set. He was a prominent deity in ancient Egyptian mythology. Seto is known for his strong-willed and sometimes ruthless personality, which reflects certain aspects of the character of Set in Egyptian mythology, particularly his fierce and unpredictable nature. Anubis turns invisible, and he sneaks into Maximilian Pegasus's room to add a secret card to his collection. In Egyptian mythology, there are no accounts or beliefs that attribute the ability of invisibility to Anubis. Furthermore, the name Pegasus is a reference to Greek mythology. Pegasus is a winged horse that was born from the blood of the Gorgon Medusa after she was slain by the hero Perseus. Pegasus is often depicted as a symbol of wisdom and poetic inspiration, and he became a popular figure in later literature and art. Pegasus was most famously ridden by the hero Bellerophon. Bellerophon used Pegasus to defeat the Chimera, a fire-breathing monster with a head of a lion, the body of a goat, and the tail of a serpent. The association of Pegasus with Bellerophon became a prominent part of Greek mythology, highlighting the heroic deeds and adventures of both figures. The museum has just received a new artifact called the Pyramid of Light, which belonged to Anubis. This is not from Egyptian mythology. Anubis is not typically associated with possessing specific artifacts, in the same way that some other gods are linked to specific symbols or objects. Pyramids are not directly part of Egyptian mythology. mythology, in the sense of being mythological entities or figures. However, pyramids play a significant role in ancient Egyptian culture and religion, particularly in funerary practices and beliefs about the afterlife. Pyramids were monumental tombs, constructed to house the pharaohs and ensure their journey to the afterlife was successful. In Egyptian religious beliefs, the pyramid shape was symbolic of the rays of the sun and the primordial mound from which the world was created. The construction of pyramids was a manifestation of the pharaoh's divine status and their transition to becoming one with the gods after death. The most famous pyramids, such as those at Giza, are iconic symbols of ancient Egypt and its culture and religious beliefs, rather than mythological entities per se. Anubis is described as an evil sorcerer who tried to bring about the end of the world, but a brave pharaoh destroyed him with a mystical dagger of fate. That is not accurate according to ancient Egyptian mythology. Anubis is consistently depicted as a benevolent deity. The dagger of fate is also not from Egyptian mythology. There's a prophecy inscribed on Anubis' sarcophagus: "The eye that sees what's yet to come, its vision shall be fulfilled, unless blinded by events predetermined. Thus light and shadows both be killed." This does not directly correspond to any specific concept or entity from ancient Egyptian mythology. However, ancient Egyptian mythology does involve symbolism related to eyes, such as the Eye of Ra or the Eye of Horus, which are associated with protection, healing, and royal power. Moreover, prophecies are more commonly found in Greek mythology compared to Egyptian mythology. In Greek mythology, prophecies play a significant role in shaping the narratives of heroes and gods. They are often delivered by oracles, such as the Oracle of Delphi, who are believed to have direct communication with the gods and could foresee future events. King Tut is referenced. King Tutankhamun, often referred to as King Tut, is not from mythology in the traditional sense. He was a real historical figure, an ancient Egyptian pharaoh who ruled during 1332 to 1323 BC. King Tutankhamun is famous primarily because his tomb, discovered in the early 20th century, was found largely intact with its treasures, providing valuable insights into ancient Egyptian art, culture, and history. Legend has it that Anubis promised to come back to life one day. In ancient Egyptian mythology, there are no specific myths or accounts of Anubis vowing to return from the dead. 3 monsters need to be sacrificed to summon an Egyptian god card. This does not directly correspond to a specific ritual or practice from Egyptian mythology. However, the concept of offering sacrifices as part of religious or ceremonial practices was indeed present in ancient Egyptian culture. The Pyramid of Light is an actual trap card. It creates a blue pyramid made of light. Blue pyramids are not part of traditional Egyptian mythology or historical architecture. Pyramids were primarily constructed using limestone blocks, which weathered over time to a sandy yellow or light brown color. Atem summons a monster called Magician's Valkyria. This is inspired by Norse mythology. The Valkyries in Norse mythology are female figures who ride through the sky on horseback. They serve the god Odin, selecting warriors from battlefields to escort them to Valhalla, the Hall of the Slain. Valkyries are associated with fate, battle, and death, often depicted as powerful and noble figures in Norse mythological stories. The effect of Magician's Valkyria makes it so that the opponent cannot target other face-up spellcaster type monsters for attack, except this one. Valkyries in Norse mythology have the power to influence battles and choose who to attack. This included selecting who would be slain and who would be spared, thereby deciding who was worthy of being taken to Valhalla. Magician's Valkyria has an attack called Mystic Scepter Blast. Scepters have historical and mythological significance in various cultures throughout history. A scepter is a symbolic staff or rod that is held by rulers, monarchs, or deities as a symbol of authority, power, or sovereignty. They are often depicted in ancient art, religious iconography, and mythology as a mark of leadership or divine right. The Pyramid of Light is fighting the Millennium Puzzle. Pyramids did not fight each other in Egyptian mythology. Atem uses Monster Reborn to bring back his Dark Magician Girl to the field. In the Japanese artwork of this card, the Ankh is depicted, which is an ancient Egyptian hieroglyph that symbolizes life, conveying the idea of eternal life, which directly correlates with the card's effect. In Egyptian mythology, the Ankh itself is not typically the central focus of specific myths in the same way gods and goddesses are, but it appears prominently as a symbol associated with various deities and concepts related to life, death, and the afterlife. Atem uses Sage's Stone, which also allows him to summon Dark Magician. Dark Magician Girl and Dark Magician are not from Egyptian mythology. In Egyptian mythology, there were priests and individuals who performed rituals, ceremonies, and magical practices, but they were not referred to as magicians in the modern sense. They were known for their knowledge of religious texts, spells, and incantations used in various religious ceremonies, healing practices, and funerary rituals. Sorcerer of Dark Magic has an attack called Celestial Blast. The term celestial is not specifically related to Egyptian mythology in the sense of being a deity or concept directly tied to ancient religious beliefs. However, the ancient Egyptians did have a complex cosmology that included beliefs about the heavens, stars, and celestial bodies. In Egyptian mythology, the goddess Nut was considered the personification of the sky and heavens, often depicted as a star-covered figure arching over the earth. It was thought that Nut swallowed the sun each night and then gave birth to it again every morning, symbolizing the cycle of day and night. Atem summons obnoxious Celtic guard, which is an elf. Elves are creatures that originate from Germanic mythology and folklore. They are often depicted as supernatural beings, or spirits associated with nature and magic. Elves have been part of European mythology for centuries, appearing in various forms and stories across different cultures. The concept of elves has since been adapted and reinterpreted in modern fantasy literature, including works like J.R.R. Tolkien's The Lord of the Rings, and contemporary popular culture, where they continue to be portrayed as magical and often humanoid creatures, with ties to nature and mystical abilities. Anubis finally appears. He looks like a regular person. In Egyptian mythology, Anubis has the head of a jackal. He is not supposed to look like a regular person. Anubis summons Androsphinx and Sphinx Teleia. Sphinxes are indeed part of Egyptian mythology. They are mythical creatures with a body of a lion and the head of a human. The most famous sphinx in Egyptian mythology is the Great Sphinx of Giza, which has the head of a pharaoh, believed by some to represent Khafre, and is situated near the pyramids on the Giza Plateau. Sphinxes in Egyptian mythology often served as guardians, symbols of strength and protectors of sacred places. Their presence in mythology has also influenced their depiction in various cultures and media throughout history. In Egyptian mythology, sphinxes are not inherently depicted as evil. They are viewed as a benevolent embodiment of strength and ferocity, typically associated with a pharaoh. Androsphinx roars to destroy Thames-Wadapan. The sphinxes do not roar in mythology. In Egyptian mythology, the term andro does not have a direct meaning or significance. The prefix andro typically relates to masculinity or male characteristics in other contexts. Sphinx Teleia is actually based on the Greek Sphinx. Sphinxes are a part of Greek mythology as well. In Greek tradition, the Sphinx is often depicted as a creature with the body of a lion, the wings of an eagle, and the head of a woman. The most famous Greek Sphinx is the one who guarded the city of Thebes and posed a riddle to travelers. Which creature walks on 4 legs in the morning, 2 legs at noon, and 3 legs in the evening? The answer, which Oedipus famously solved, is man, as he crawls on all 4s as a baby, walks on 2 legs as an adult, and uses a cane in old age. Sphinx Teleia's attack name in the original version of the movie, Question of the Trial, is a direct nod to this aspect of Greek mythology. Greek sphinxes are often associated with mystery and riddles, and sometimes as malevolent creatures that pose challenges to heroes and travelers. In Greek, the word teleia can have a few different meanings, depending on the context. It can refer to something that is complete, perfect, or finished. It can also mean mature or full-grown, particularly when referring to a person's age or development. It can denote the conclusion or end of something. Sphinx Teleia is also referred to as gynosphinx, which means female sphinx. The prefix gyno means woman or female, so this is the female counterpart to androsphinx. It's unclear why Sphinx Teleia got a different name, and androsphinx didn't. Anubis hopes that worms will feast on Atem's flesh, just like they did on his. In Egyptian mythology, there is no known tradition or belief that worms specifically feasted on Anubis's flesh. Worms are not prominently featured in Egyptian mythology as significant or symbolic creatures. Anubis summons Theanin the Great Sphinx, which is a fused version of Androsphinx and Sphinx Teleia. In mythology, there are no known accounts or legends that depict interactions with the Greek Sphinx and the Egyptian Sphinx. Furthermore, Theanin does not have a direct counterpart or meaning in Egyptian mythology. Obelisk has an attack called Titan Firestorm. The Titans are related to Greek mythology. They were a race of powerful deities who preceded the Olympian gods. They were the children of Uranus and Gaia. There were originally 12 Titans. Anubis has the power to create real monsters. In Egyptian mythology, Anubis does not have attributes or myths that involve the creation of real monsters. Anubis possesses the ability to unleash a devastating black flame from his mouth, and he effortlessly withstands attacks from other monsters. This is also not part of Anubis's characteristics in Egyptian mythology. Yugi summons Blue-Eye Shining Dragon to defeat Anubis once and for all. There are no specific myths depicting Anubis being defeated in a traditional sense. If you enjoyed the comparison, like this video and subscribe for more. What other movies or shows would you like to see explored next? Leave a suggestion in the comments below, and stay tuned for more mythological adventures.
As you can see, Yu-Gi-Oh! Outshines SAO. The trading card game is also incredible. Here's some deck profiles.
Hey everyone, I got a new deck profile on my Dragunity Dragon Ruler deck. Since 6 cents is now legal, I decided to adjust a few cards and I'll show you guys my deck profile. So first of all, start off with the monsters. 3 Blaster, 3 Tempest, and 3 Redox. So the 9 big dragons, you don't need Tidal because it's sort of cloggy and Tidal's effect isn't that good. Next up, 3 Dragunity Ducks, 2 Phalanx, and 1 Mistletoe. That's it for the monsters. For the spells, 1 Book of Moon, 1 Gold Sarcophagus, 2 Terraforming, 2 cards of Consonance. Then for the draw power, 3 Upstart Goblins. Next up, 3 Ravine. Probably the best card in the deck, just gets your engine starting, helps you make the combo plays. And next up, 3 Sacred Sword of 7 stars for the draw power. Then for the traps, 1 Return, then the newly released 6 cents, then 1 Solemn Warning, 1 Bottomless, 1 Compulsory, 2 Phoenix Wing Wind Blast. I decided to play this over Raigeki Break just because so many people are playing Stardust Dragon, and if your opponent has like Draco Sack with tokens on board, Phoenix from Wind Blast is better. And then lastly, play 3 Reckless Greeds. Speeds up the deck a lot. So next up, I'll show you guys the side deck. Play 2 DD Crow, really great in the mirror match and just against normal dragons as well. Banish the opponent's Phalanx from the graveyard and also their big dragon when they attempt to summon it. For the spells, 2 XYZ Encore just for Evil Swarm, and then 3 MST for pretty much everything. Sometimes I also side it in against the mirror match because you want to hit your opponent's Ravines and cards like that. 2 Decree against trap heavy decks like Blackwing. 2 Mystical Ref panel. I usually side out my draw cards like Cards of Consonance and I side in these because if you resolve this against your opponent, it's really devastating for them. Next up, 2 Divine Wraths. Sided in against Prophecy. It's really good because most of the Prophecy cards like Spellbook of Fate and Spellbook of the Masters, they need to control a Spellcaster type monster to activate it, and Divine Wrath destroys it, so I like Divine Wrath. And next up, 2 Debunk. Then for the extra deck, I have my tokens, and then the 3 Dragonite Knight Vadriana, definitely need 3. 1 Gay Dirge. Gay Dirge is also really good because you can search a DD Crow from your deck. And then, new edition, HTS Psyhemoth. Make this when your opponent maxes you, so you don't get Crimson Blader. It's pretty much a DD Warrior Lady. Next up for the 8s, 1 Stardust Dragon. I usually make that first turn because it protects your cards. And it's also a dragon, so if it does get destroyed, you can always banish it for one of your dragons. Next up, 1 Scrap Dragon. Really good card. If you can't get over an opponent's monster or something like that, you can always use Scrap Dragon's effect to destroy it. 1 Thought Ruler Archfiend gains you life points, helps you usually in time, and plus they can't target it, so your opponent's back row is all like Compulsory Evacuation Device or Fiendish Chain. Doesn't really do anything. I guess you could target, but it doesn't really matter because you can just pay 1,000 life points to negate it, so it's really good against Evil Swarm and decks like that target a lot. Next up, 1 Colossal Fighter. Really good in the mirror match. A lot of monsters are 2800 attack like Blaster, Scrap Dragon, Crimson Blader, so he helps you a lot. And lastly for the Synchros, 1 Crimson Blader. I never really found myself needing to. I barely ever made one. I only really make it in the mirror match or against decks like Mermail. So I guess you could play 2 if you want, but I'm fine with 1. Then for the XYZs, 1 Attune for the combo with Mistletoe. 1 Gaia Dragon to overlay over your Attune or just make it with the 2 dragons, 1 Big Eye, and then lastly 2 Draco Sacks. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, this is a deck profile of my Dragunity Dragon Ruler deck for the September 2013 format. It's definitely one of the best decks in my opinion, and here's the deck profile. So I play 3 Dragunity Ducks, and 2 Dragunity Phalanx, and 1 Dragunity Arma Mistletoe. Just the 6 Dragunity cards, and then play 3 Blaster, 3 Tempest, and 3 Redox. I don't play Tidal because it's really cloggy and you don't really need it. And for the last monster, 1 Flammelguard because I wanted to have some more Blaster targets. And I don't play Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon because I don't really like the card. I just kept drawing it and it would always be dead in my hand and I always wish it was something else, so I decided to cut it. Then for the spells, Gold Sarcophagus and Book of Moon for the 1-ups. 2 Terraforming, searches out the Dragon's Ravine, which I play 3 of. Dragon's Ravine is a very important card in this deck, a lot more important than the standard Dragon Rulers, because you can get Phalanx in your graveyard and also search out the Dragonity Ducks. Then next up, for the draw power, 3 Cards of Consonance. I have 3 targets for it, but it's really easy to get Phalanx and Flammelguard to your hand because you have the Gold Sarcophagus, Sacred Sword, Ravine, and all those you can get Phalanx or Flammelguard to your hand. So definitely play 3. If it's dead, you can always pitch it for Dragon's Ravine. And then 3 Sacred Sword of 7 Stars. Since I do play the 9 dragons, this is sometimes dead in my hand, but if it is, again, you can always pitch it for a Ravine. So I definitely wouldn't play any less, because there are times when I wish I would play even more. And then, for the last spells, 3 Upstart Goblins, so a lot of draw power in this deck. Upstart Goblins are really good because it helps you go into your combo plays, and makes the deck 37 cards. Next up for the traps, 1-ups, Return, Compulsory, and Solemn Warning. Really good cards. Play 2 Vanity's Emptiness, And next up, 3 Reckless Greeds. If you draw like double Reckless or triple Reckless, you just go so much advantage over your opponent and draw your combo cards, and you should be winning from there. So I definitely recommend the Reckless Greeds. Sometimes the Reckless have been dead and I would Reckless lock myself out and I couldn't draw anything for 2 turns, but most times it helps me more than it hurts me, so I like playing it. I do sometimes side it out, so I can side in some of my better side deck cards for it. But here's the side deck. 2 Max C, because I don't main deck any hand traps, because Max C is not really good against that many decks this format. It's not that good against Evil Swarm, it's not that good against Prophecy, but I really only sided in against like Mirror Match or Mermail, decks that I special summon a lot. Next up, 2 Electric Virus for Mirror Match and the standard Dragon deck. And then for the spells, 2 Encore for Evil Swarm. I've seemed to never draw this card whenever I side it in, but I like it a lot when I do draw it. 3 MST, because I don't main deck any MST, and you need it against the back row heavy decks to hit cards like Imperial Iron Wall. You can hit Dragon's Ravine in the Mirror Match, just cards like that. And 2 Debunk. Really like this card because it works well against a lot of decks, works well against the Mirror Match, Dragon Rulers, negates the dragons from the hand or grave, works well against Mermails and Dark Worlds. And next up, 2 Trap Stun. It helps you OTK your opponent. Sometimes I side it into the Mirror Match, and I've never done it, but when your opponent activates Return and you chain Trap Stun, like they pay half their life points for nothing pretty much. So I definitely recommend Trap Stun. And then next up, 2 Divine Wrath for Prophecy. I like it better than Skill Drain in Prophecy because it negates and destroys the monsters, so they can't use Fate. Plus, if you have Skill Drain, they can sometimes just Wisdom their own monster to be unaffected by Skill Drain. So that's it for the side deck. Here's the extra deck. 1 Dragunity Knight Gator. I almost never go into him, but you need him to search out your cards, and usually just go into him when I get Max Seed, but other than that, I always go for the Vadriana play. And next up, 3 Vadriana. Definitely need 3. I would not play this deck with any less than 3. It's just a very key combo card, helps you make your level 8s, and level 8 synchros are really big this format. So yeah, that's it for the Dragunity synchros. Next up, for the 8s, 1 Crimson Blader, 1 Stardust, 1 Colossal Fighter, 1 Thought Ruler Archfiend, Scrap Dragon, and Angel of Zera. And for the XYZs, Heretic, Dragon, King of the Tomb, you can make it with Vadriana and Mistletoe, and the really good combos, like you can detach for a Dragon Ruler, then banish 2 from your graveyard, summon another Dragon Ruler, overlay for Dracosac, then overlay the Gaia Dragon Thundercharger over the Tomb. I've done that once before, so it's really good play. And next up, 1 Big Eye and 2 Dracosacs. So yeah, that's it for the Dragunity Dragon Ruler deck profile. Definitely one of the best decks in my opinion. If you haven't played it yet, I definitely recommend trying to play it. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hey everyone, I got a deck profile of my Dragon Rulers for the September 2013 format. I also do a video on the Dragunity Dragon Ruler and Blue Eyes Dragon Rulers because I have those decks as well. But this video I just show you guys the standard Dragon Ruler deck. So first off, start off with the monsters. Play 3 Blaster, 3 Tidal, 3 Tempest, and 3 Redox. The standard 12 big dragons. Next up, 2 Card Trooper and 1 Trigon. Trigon's great in this deck because it's fire, so it works with Blaster. It's dragons, so it has synergy with the big dragons, and also you can send it to the graveyard with Ravine for Debris Dragon because it's 500 attack, so it's a Debris Dragon target. And next up for the tuners, 2 Debris Dragon, 2 Corseska, and 1 Flamel Guard. And also 1 Fog King. Fog King's great because it's level 7 and you can normal summon it. It's water, so it works on the title, and it's also a debris target. Then for the hand traps, 3 Maxi and 2 Swift Scarecrow. For the spells, Dark Hole, Book of Moon, 3 Cards of Consonance for the draw power, and 3 Sacred Sword. And lastly, for the spells, 3 Dragon's Ravine. For the traps, there's not many of them, but 2 Raigeki Break and 1 Return from the Different Dimension. So that's it for the main deck. It's 40 cards. Show you guys the side and extra deck. For the side deck, play 2 Skill Drain. I side in versus almost every deck that is a mirror match, for example like Evil Swarm or Constellar. Next up, 2 Divine Wrath for Prophecy, because it gets rid of their monsters so they can't use Fate. 2 Trap Stun, 2 Debunk, works great in the mirror match and Mermails. 3 MST, because I don't main deck any MST and you need it against back row heavy decks. 2 Encore for Evil Swarm, and lastly 2 Electric Virus for Mirror Match. And then for the extra deck, 1 Armory Arm, 1 Orient Dragon, Ancient Fairy Dragon, Black Rose Dragon, 1 Stardust, Colossal Fighter, Thought Ruler, Scrap Dragon, Angel of Zera. It's really good because it can attack over your opponent's Star Eater if there's enough banished monsters. And also, I had a situation where my opponent was playing Blue Eyes Dragon Rulers, and he went to Zero Eyes Silver Dragon, and that has 3,000 defense, and I was able to beat over it because he had a bunch of cards banished. So I definitely recommend Angel of Zera. 1 Crimson Blader, and 1 Star Eater. Star Eater's needed because debris and any level 7. Then for the XYZs, Guy Dragon, Big Eye, and 2 Draco Sacks. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, got a deck profile today of my Dragon Ruler deck, or Elemental Dragon deck. I'm still missing a few cards in the extra deck, but main deck is pretty much complete, so I'll show you guys what I play. I have 3 Blasters, 3 Tempest, 3 Tidal, 3 Redox, and that's it for the big dragons. Play 3 of each of the big dragons. Then for the baby dragons, 2 Burner, 2 Reactant, 2 Lightning, and 2 Streams. So I play 3 of each of the big dragons and 2 of each of the baby dragons, which is pretty much staple in every Elemental Dragon or Dragon Ruler deck. Then I play the Red Eyes Dark Metal Dragon. It's really good because if you banish one of the big dragons, you can trigger their effect and add another one. So it's really good, and you can special summon one from your hand or graveyard. So pretty good Red Eyes. And I play the Light and Darkness engines. I play 2 Light and Darkness Dragon and 2 Eclipse Wyvern. If you open with Eclipse Wyvern and a baby dragon, you pretty much get the Light and Darkness Dragon first turn, so it's really good. And then for the hand traps, I play 2 Effect Veilers and 2 Maxis. And that's it for the monsters. For the spells, I play Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, and Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial is good because you can send a dragon to your graveyard, then you can summon it by banishing 2 from your hand or graveyard, or you can banish that one as well, so it's pretty good. Then the Trinity, of course, Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, really needed. Then I also play 2 Mystical Space Typhoon main deck because felt like these were needed just in case people were playing any Imperial Iron Walls main deck, but nobody was doing that. But it was still pretty good. Like, I'd always end phase MST a Breakthrough Skill, or I would MST a Fiendish Chain, so it's pretty good main deck, so I would definitely keep them. And 2 Super Rejuvenations is also really good. I usually draw up to like anywhere from 2 to 6 cards using this, so it's definitely needed. And 2 Sacred Sword. This is pretty good as well. Not only do you get the effects of the dragon that you banish, you also get to draw 2 cards, so it's draw power really good. And then lastly, 3 Gold Sarcophagus. You pretty much banish one of the big dragons, and you either add one of the baby dragons or add another big dragon to your hand, so it's pretty good. And yeah, that's it for the main deck. I don't play any traps in the main deck. So I'll show you guys the side deck. I'm still adjusting the side deck, but here's what I had for the tournament. I played 1 Neospatian Grand Mole, really good against Evil Swarms, 2 Snowman Eater. I might change these for Exploder Dragons just because Exploder Dragons are Dragon and Earth. Played 2 Electric Virus. This was really good in the mirror match because you can always take control of your opponent's machine or dragon type. So I took control of my opponent's Red Eyes, Darkest Metal Dragon, and special summon a dragon from my hand. And you can always take control of your opponent's Draco Sack as well, because Draco Sack's machine. I played 2 System Down, just in case there's any like gadgets or Gear Geo, which there's a bunch of, but I didn't play against any, so I never sided these in. Played 2 Mind Crush for Prophecy, and any other decks I don't really search a lot, but didn't play against any Prophecy. And I played 3 Fiendish Chain. I didn't have any breakthrough skills, so I decided to just play Fiendish Chains. These are really good against a bunch of the decks that I sided in against. Then I played 3 Royal Decrees against really heavy back row decks. I never sided these in because most decks that I played didn't really have too much traps, so I might take the Royal Decrees out. So that's it for the side deck. Show you guys the extra deck. I'm still missing a few cards in the extra deck, but here's what I had for the tournament. I had 1 Armory Arm, never went into it. Black Rose, never went into it. Crimson Blader, never went into it. Red Dragon Archfiend, never went into it. And Scrap Dragon, never went into it. So that's it for the Synchros. I never actually went into any of the Synchros just because I always used my Effect Veilers as hand traps. I never actually summoned them and then Synchro with them. For the Exceed, I got Abyss Dweller. It's really good because Stream is level 4 and it's also water, so you can get your boost. I never went into that because I didn't play against any Mermaids or Dark Worlds or anything like that. Queen Dragon to Jin, never went into that either. Abyss Gaios, you can always make it with 2 titles. Never went into that. Gaia Dragon, went into this a couple times. It's really good against Mirror Match because the tokens that Dragossack makes are 0 defense, so piercing damage is really good. And I play 1 Big Eye. I only had 1 for the tournament, so I only play 1, but I really like to get 2. I think 2 is okay. I don't think you really need 3. Then I play 3 Dracosacks. These are really, really good. I went into all 3 of these in the mirror match, so definitely if you're playing Elemental Dragons or Dragon Rulers, you do need 3 Dracosacks. So yeah, that's it for the deck profile. Thanks for watching.
Hey everyone, got an Evil Swarm deck profile. I currently attended the 2013 Nationals. I didn't have an invite, but I participated in the last chance qualifier, but unfortunately still couldn't get the invite. But this is the deck that I'm going to take to the public event regional qualifiers that are going on Saturday and Sunday. I did play Dragons in the last chance qualifier, and I also want to try out my Evil Storm deck. So I'll also be doing a Dragon deck profile later, but here's the Evil Storm deck profile. So start off, got 2 Rescue Rabbit, really important because you do play the normal Heliotrope. Next up is the 3 Heliotrope. It's really good since it's 1950 and it beats over like Thunder King, Neosalius, and a bunch of the other 1900s. The 50 does make a big difference. Then one of the best cards in the deck is Caster. It allows you the extra normal summon to go first turn Ophion, and if you can go first turn Ophion against a bunch of decks like Dragons mainly, and you can protect it, you pretty much win. Next I play 3 Evil Storm Thunderbird. I see a lot of people play 2 of these, but I decided to play 3 just because I wanted more Evil Storm monsters to open up with, so I could make Ophion more consistently. Next up, play 3 Mandragora, because there's a lot of decks that special summon a lot, and have a bunch of monsters, so Mandragora is mostly live all the time. Then the new edition that came out in Tachyon, 3 Evil Storm Kirkion. I really like this card, pretty much a 1-card Ophion if you have the Evil Storms in your graveyard. So it's a really good card, and you can always search it with the Infestation Trap card. You can always put like a Heliotrope back in your deck to search one of these out, so really good. And last monsters, I play 3 Maxis. Pretty much just for dragons or any deck that special summons a lot. I usually side them out for prophecies or any other rogue decks because they don't special summon too much, and especially in mirror match I would side these out because I don't want them just 1 for 1. I want to make sure I can plus off this or make sure my opponent stops special summoning. But Maxi is a really good card against dragons because they pretty much have to special summon a lot to make their big plays. So yeah, that's it for the monsters, this side. Next up for the spells, play the 1-ups, 1 Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Reinforcement in the Army, and Book of Moon. Monster Reborn's really good, of course. A lot of people don't play Heavy Storm and Dark Hole, but I really like them, so I decided to play them. Reinforcement in the Army is very crucial to search out Evil Storm Caster to make the first turn Ophion, and then I also really like Book of Moon in case your opponent has like a Light and Darkness Dragon or anything else. You know, just chain something, then or you activate something, then chain Book of Moon and put that face down. So really good. Then more spells here. Play 3 Infestation Pandemic. I decided to play 3 because in Dragons, they do play usually 2 to 3 breakthrough skills, maybe some Forbidden Chalices, and you can always activate, or your opponent can always activate breakthrough skill from the graveyard to target your Ophion, so Pandemic is a really good card. Then that's it for the spells. I don't main deck any MST, I side them, so you'll see that in the side deck, but here's the traps. Play the 1-up, Solemn Judgment, and Solemn Warning, really good cards of course. And then Infestation Infection, the trap card that allows you to search any Evil Storm monster, so it's really good. You can return a Heliotrope to your deck to search out Kirkion and have your Rescue Rabbit live. And then those are the 1-ups I played. Then play 2 Safe Zone, pretty much protect Ophion, and if you're against Dragon Rulers or any deck that special summons level 5 or higher monsters a lot, you pretty much win. I play 2 Torrential Tribute next up, because a lot of decks swarm a lot, and Torrential Tribute pretty much takes out all their monsters, plus I do play 3 Pandemic, so I can also chain Pandemic and save my monsters. Next I play 2 Bottomless Trap Hole. This is actually really good against dragons, and it's really good because I always usually save it for when my opponent exceeds summons into a Dracossack or a Big Eye, then I bottomless, or if they've already used the dragon's effect to summon itself, I bottomless, so they can't use the dragon's effect again that turn. So bottomless is pretty good, but usually side out the torrential and bottomless against prophecy, just because they don't play too many monsters, and they have the wisdom. And lastly, play 3 compulsory evacuation device. really good card, especially against dragons, because they can go summon Draco Sack, just activate compulsory, return it back to their extra deck, summon Big Eye or anything else, and just pretty much compulse it back to their extra deck. So yeah, that's it for the traps, and that's it for the main deck. I believe it's 40 cards. Here's the side deck. I play 3 Drone Lockbird. This card's pretty much just for prophecies, because prophecies search a lot, and if you can Drone Lockbird them after they use Judgment, they pretty much minus themselves a lot, and pretty much ends their turn, and they can't really do anything for that turn. Next up, I play 2 Gozen Match, just for pretty much dragons, because it's all the elemental dragons, pretty much almost all different attributes, and if you have this on the field, since all your monsters are mostly dark, besides some of the Xseed monsters aren't, but most of the all the Evil Swarm monsters are dark, so it's really good. Next up, 3 Imperial Iron Wall. It's really, really good against dragons and prophecies. They can't banish for Spellbook of Fate, and make sure you have this before they activate Spellbook of Fate, because it is a cost to banish for Spellbook of Fate, but it's really good against dragons. If you can get this off first turn, they can't banish, and if you have Ophion out, you pretty much almost can't do anything until they get rid of your cards. And then next up, I play 3 Eradicator Epidemic Virus, just for the prophecies, because if you can resolve an Eradicator first turn, you pretty much win. And then next up, 2 MSTs. This is pretty much for back row heavy decks or any rogue decks. And then lastly, for the spells in the side deck, I play 2 Dimensional Fissure. I'll put this in for Mermails, because there are still a couple people playing Mermails, and I didn't want to lose to Mermails, so it's pretty good. Also good against graveyard reliant decks like Dark Worlds, or pretty much Mermails though, because that's pretty much one of the most played graveyard reliant decks. So yeah, that's it for the side deck. And lastly, the extra deck. I play 3 Evil Storm Ophion, pretty much the main card. It's one of the big reasons why Evil Storm are good. If you have Ophion out and you can protect them the whole game and you're playing against dragons, you pretty much win. Next up, play 2 Bahamut's. It's pretty much a Big Eye for Evil Swarms. You detach one and discard an L-Swarm monster, take control of any monster your opponent controls. Then 1 Ouroboros. I don't bring this out a lot, but its effects are pretty good, so just one of them you don't really need anymore. Next I play 1 Daigusto Emerald. It's like a mini Pot of Avarice, so it's good if you can get its effect off. Next up, a Gemini Pearl, 2600. It's good in the mirror match, it can beat over Ophion, and just a 2600 beater, can't be Fiendish Chain or anything. Next up, a Diamond Direwolf. I don't go into him a lot, but usually just for problems, and if I don't have an MST or anything to get rid of back row, I'll go into him. Next up, Cowboy, because Cowboy is really good. Burn your opponent for 800, and wins games. Next up, Maestroke. Can't be destroyed, or when it would be destroyed, detach an Xyz material, so it's pretty good. Plus it's dark, so if you have Gozen Match on the field, you can always go into him. You can always Book of Moon your opponent's monsters as well. Next up, number 50, Black Ship of Corn. It's a really good card against Zenmains or Gachi. You pretty much detach an Xyz material, target a monster that has less attack, and burn them for 1000 and send it to the graveyard. And next up I play an Abyss Dweller, good for Mermails or any other graveyard reliant decks like Dark Worlds. And next up, Photon Papilloperative, really good against dragons because they go Draco Stack first turn, then go into the tokens, and since tokens are 0 attack, 0 defense, you can put them into attack mode and deal some damage, so really good. And lastly, I play number 16 Shockmaster. I don't really go into him a lot, but if you do, and you're playing against maybe prophecies or dragons, and you call spells or monster effects, and it resolves, you pretty much win. So yeah, that's it for the Evil Storm deck. I'll be playing it tomorrow at the public events for the regional qualifiers at the 2013 North American World Championships.
Hey everyone, I got a deck profile of my Evil Swarm Lagia deck. I bought 2 boxes of Hidden Arsenal 7, and I got the majority of the cards, and I just bought a couple more singles from my local card shop, and I was able to build a deck. It's really good, and I'll show you guys what I'm playing. Start off with the main deck. It's 41 cards. Play the Rabbit engine, so 2 Rescue Rabbit. Then my targets are 3 Evil Swarm Heliotrope. It's 1950, so it gets over Thunder King, Sabersaurus, and then 3 Sabersaurus. And then also play 2 Tour Guides. It's really good late game and early game. And for the Evil Swarm part, 3 Caster. You can be searched out with Reinforcement of the Army. Grants you an extra normal summon. And this is a condition, so even if your opponent effect failures or Fiendish Chains, you still get to normal summon. So it's really good. 3 Mandragora, it's like a Cyber Dragon. If your opponent controls more monsters than you do, you can special summon this card from your hand, and it's anytime, so it's pretty good. And then 3 Evil Swarm Thunderbird. This is like the wind-up rabbit. Whenever an effect is activated, you can banish it, and during the next standby phase, it comes back with 300 more attack, so it'll come back at 1950, which is pretty good as well. Then for the spells, got Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Pot of Avarice, and Reinforcement of the Army. This is just to search out the Evil Storm caster. Then 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. You don't really need 3. 2 Forbidden Dress to protect Ophion from like targeting effects such as like Raikou, Snowman Eater. And 3 Infestation Pandemic can be searched out by Ophion. It's really, really good. Protects all your Evil Swarm monsters from spells and traps, so it's like a Forbidden Lance, and they don't even lose any attack points. And for the traps, 1 Infestation Infection, just for consistency, helps you put back the Evil Swarm cards that you don't need and add the ones you do. You pretty much just put back 1 Evil Swarm monster from your hand or face up from your side of field to your deck, and then you can add another one from your deck to your hand. So it's really good. You can put back your Heliotrope and add back a caster or anything else you need, maybe a Thunderbird. And then Solemn Judgment and Solemn Warning, really good. 1 Mirror Force, you only really need 1, and I play 2 Dimensional Prison, which are pretty good, and then 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Compulsory, and that's it for the main deck. I'll show you guys the extra deck as well. I play 3 Evil Swarm Ophion. It's pretty much the main Exceed of the extra deck. It's really good. While it has Exceed materials on it, neither player can special summon level 5 or higher monsters, and once per turn I can detach an Exceed material to add 1 Infestation spell or trap card from my deck to my hand. So I search out the Infestation Pandemic, which is the Forbidden Lance of the deck, so it's pretty good. 1 Evil Storm Bahamut. It's almost like a Big Eye. Pretty much you detach one XC material from this card and discard 1 L-Swarm monster, which in this case will be Evil Storm because I don't play any other L-Swarms, but pretty much discard 1 Evil Storm, then you can take control of one of your opponent's monsters and it can still attack. Big Eye, you can take control of one of your opponent's monsters, but it can't attack, so it's pretty much like a mini Big Eye, I guess. 1 Ouroboros, this is like Trishula. It takes 3 level 4 monsters, and you can only activate 1 of its effects only once while it's face up on the field, and its effects are 3 different effects. One is you can target 1 card your opponent controls, return it to the hand, and I can also send 1 random card from my opponent's hand to the graveyard. I also target one card in my opponent's graveyard and remove from play. So it's really, really good. I hardly ever go into him, but when I do, it's really game changing. Then for the like Dino part, Lagia and Dulka for the Sabersaurus. I only really go into Lagia, but Dulka's there just in case I ever need him. Lavalval Chain, it's really good. I usually put Rescue Rabbit at the top of my deck if I still have the normals in my deck, but its effect is that once per turn I can detach 1 XC material, and I can activate 1 of the 2 effects. The first effect is send 1 card from my deck to the graveyard, and the other one is choose 1 monster from my deck and place it on the top of my deck. So usually go for Rescue Rabbit if I still got the normals. Pretty good. Gemini Pearl, it's really good against the mirror match because it's 2600, so it can get over Ophion. I choose to play it over Utopia just because of that reason, I guess. Maystroke, pretty just a standard rank 4, I guess. Yeah, same with Photon. Papal Operative, pretty good, I guess. Then for the rank 3s, got 1 Levier, really good with the Tour Guide and Rabbit plays. It's really like devastating for your opponent if you got an Ophion with materials and a Lagia with materials, and that happened to me once yesterday, and yeah, pretty much won from there. So then I got number 17 Leviathan Dragon, Zenmains, and lastly Temtempo. So that's it for the extra deck. And then for the side deck, I got 2 Max C's. Pretty much decided this against decks that really special summon a lot. So I did it against windups and helped me a bit. 2 Snowman Eaters, standard side deck cards, I guess. 2 Thunder King Ryo, good against like decks that search a lot, such as the spell books. 2 Macrocosmos, because it doesn't really hurt your deck that much, and it's really bad for your opponent if they're playing a graveyard reliant deck. Really only need to like side out the Pot of Avarice, maybe Monster Reborn, just to side Macrocosmos in. I play 2 Mind Crush. It's good for the decks that search a lot, like the spell books again. And then To eradicate epidemic virus, pretty much just against spellbooks, I contribute a dark monster with 2500 or more attack, and then I can declare spells or traps, and then for the next 3 turns, all the cards they draw and all the cards in their hand and on the field are destroyed, so it's pretty good. And then the third MST, just in case I need it against back row heavy decks, and then lastly the 2 Soul Takers. So yeah, that's it for the deck. Evil Storm Lagia, it's pretty good. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, I got a deck profile today of my Macro Rabbit deck. I got 2nd place at Locals with this deck. My only loss was to Evils. I beat Insectors, Gravekeepers, Psychics, and Hieratics. There's a total of 6 people, so that's average size for my local tournaments. The guy who beat me, the evil player, he was the guy who got 1st place. So I'll show you guys my deck. Main deck, starting off, 40 cards in the main deck. I played the 2 Rescue Rabbit. Needed in the Macro Rabbit deck brings out the normal monsters. And the normal monsters that it brings out have the 3 Cabazols and 3 Sabersaurs. And then I also played 3 Jurite Guaiba. I sided these out most games against the Gravekeeper and the Evil guy because their monsters have really big defense, so I sided those out. And I got 2 Tour Guides. I don't play any other targets because I just think that's enough, and it never got Warninged or Veilered, so I think 2 is good. Then I have 2 Spirit Reapers. This is really good, helps you stall, and you can also use a 2nd effect to hit a card out of your opponent's hand, which I used a bunch of times. And my last monster is a Neospatian Grand Mole. It's really good. You can use it to bounce an opponent's monster. He bounced a lot of monsters back today, so I recommend playing the Grand Mole. So that's it for the monsters. I have the spells, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, and Book of Moon. Have to play these cards. I decided to play the Book of Moon because I am playing the Guaibas, so it helped me get over my opponent's monsters. Then I played 3 Forbidden Lance for the Guaiba as well, and also to protect my own monsters. And 3 Mystical Space Typhoon, just to get rid of back row, because a lot of decks that I played against use heavy back row like Gravekeepers. So, yep. And then that's it for the spells. For the traps, 2 Macrocosmos. I think 2 is enough. Had Macrocosmos on the field for most of the games, so it was good. I did side a 3rd one against Insectors, and I think another game, but I don't remember I sided against Insectors, so 2 is good for the main deck. And I have 2 Bottomless Trap Holes, 2 Compulsory, and 2 Torrential Tribute. I thought about not playing the Torrential Tribute because I didn't want to have a Lagia with units, overlay units, and have Torrential in my back row, but I decided to play it because, you're not always going to have the ideal hand. You're not always going to open Rabbit and Tour Guide, so it was good. I was playing against Gravekeepers, and the guy had 4 monsters, and he summoned another one, and I used Torrential and destroyed all his monsters. And I had Macro on the field, so he didn't even get the effects of the Recruiter when it was supposed to go to the graveyard, so definitely Torrential is really good. And then played 3 Deep Prisons. I decided not to play any Mirror Force because I thought a lot of people would be playing Starlight Road, and Mirror Force and Deep Prison, they would get popped. It's like the same, like if I was playing against Insectors, he could just use Hornet to pop my back row. And I like Deep Prison better because it removes the monster from play, so yeah, Deep Prison did a lot of work today, removed a lot of monsters. Then Solemn Judgment and Solemn Warning, and then lastly a Starlight Road to protect my back row. I resolved the Starlight, I think once or twice today, so it's really good. Yep, that's it for the main deck. I'll show you guys the side deck that I used. I have 1 Gores for when I sided out the Macrocosmos. 2 Snowman Eaters, really good against pretty much any deck. Thunder Kings, sided these in against any deck that searches. I sided in against the Gravekeepers because they search They search a bit when they discard their commandant and when their recruiter goes to the graveyard, so I decided to side those in. It's also really good if you're going first turn and you don't draw a rabbit and don't go into Lagia, because if you summon this and you have back row, it's almost the same as Lagia with back row. Lagia is technically better, but Thunder King with back row is pretty good as well. And I have 2 Fossilidina. I never sided these in, but I had these against decks that special summon a lot. But I didn't really play against any of those, so I didn't side these in. And my deck, I don't special summon every turn. I can just normal summon my normal monsters, so decided to put that in. Have 1 mind control. I thought I'd be playing against mirror match a lot, but I didn't play against any. But I sided in against evils, but I never got to draw it. But it's still pretty good. I can always take my opponent's monster and overlay for rank 4, because a lot of people are playing level 4s like Thunder King. And I have 2 Null Man of Cross Out. This is a really good card. I sided in against the evils, but I never got to draw it. And I sided against Gravekeeper's first turn, and I hit his Gravekeeper's Spy and Gravekeeper's Guard, so it helped me a lot. Null Man of Cross Out. It's also good against Geargia or Chaos Dragons when they set the Raikou. Geargia, when they have Geargia armor, gets rid of the 1900 wall. Then I have 2 Soul Takers. It's good against any decks that have big monsters that you can't get over. Also for the mirror match, but I didn't play against any. I sided against the evils because it's almost the same as my deck, but I didn't get to draw it. 3rd copy of Macrocosmos, put in the side deck, sided in against the Inzector player and Gravekeepers, I believe, so helped me a lot, because I got Macro first turn on them, so they really couldn't do anything. They tried a heavy, but I had Starlight, so it was really good. And then lastly, I have 2 Dust Tornadoes against decks that have a lot of back row. I sided in against Gravekeepers, and it helped me a lot to destroy their back row. Alright, that's it for the side deck, 15 cards. I'll show you guys the extra deck. I have Stardust Dragon for the Starlight Road. That's the only Synchro monster, then the rest are Exceeds. 2 Evils are Lagia. Main card, it's really good if you can get it off first turn. I felt 2 was enough, I didn't really need a 3rd one. Then I have 2 Evils are Dolka, it's also really good. Went into this quite a few times as well. You can negate any monster effect. I have 1 Gaga Cowboy, I went into this once today. It's really good, dealt my opponent 800, so he only had 400 life points left. Then I was able to attack for game a couple turns later, so Gaga Cowboy really good. 1 Black Ship, really good against pretty much any deck that has defensive monsters that you can't get over, like if they have a Spirit Reaper or a Zen Mains or any monster really with lower equal attack to number 50, it's really good against it. Abyss Dweller, I never went into this, but it's good against any deck that relies on the graveyard like Marmels or Dark Worlds. Utopia, never went into this, but just a standard rank 4 Exceed monster. Maestroke, I never went into this either, but it's just another standard rank 4. And for the rank 3s, I have 1 Tempo, I never went into this. Acid Golem, never went into that. Levier, went into this a couple times with my tour guides. Zen Mains went into this, and Leviathan Dragon also went into that. So yeah, that's it for my deck. Hey everyone, I finished my Macro Rabbit deck, so I'll show you guys the deck profile. First of all, here's the monsters. Got 2 Rescue Rabbit, of course. These bring out the Sabersaurus and the Cabazols. So next up we got the Sabersaurus and the Cabazols, the 6 normal monsters of the deck. These are easy Exceed materials, and they're brought out by the Rescue Rabbit. And then for the last of the dinosaurs, Jurak Waiba. When this monster destroys another opponent's monster by battle, you can special summon another one, so it's another easy Exceed material. Just attack into your opponent's monster, special summon another one, then overlay. Some other monsters, 2 Spirit Reapers. It's good for stalling when you need to get the good cards. Also, you can place it in attack mode and attack your opponent and hit a card out of their hand. Then 2 Tour Guides, the Night Assailant and Sangin, goes with the Tour Guides. You can bring out Tour Guide and Sangin, and you can search out your Rescue Rabbit. And the final monster, Neospatian Grandmole, it's really good, it's like a Compulse. So that's it for the monsters. Put that to the side. Here's the spells. Got the 1-ups here. Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Book of Moon, and then 2 Mystical Space Typhoon. Reason why I don't run 3 is because of this. 3 Forbidden Lands. This is pretty much just like another Mystical Space Typhoon. For example, if you summon a monster and they use Bottomless Trap Hole, you can chain Forbidden Lance, which is pretty much just like using a Mystical Space Typhoon on their Bottomless Trap Hole. It's also really good because you can use it offensively or defensively. When your opponent's attacking, you can use it and lower their monster's attack, so it's pretty good as well. Next up for the traps, so here's the 2 Macrocosmos, of course, Macro Rabbit, so Macrocosmos, 2 Dimensional Prison, it's really good. I choose to play this over Mirror Force because Mirror Force does destroy, so if your opponent has a Stardust Dragon or a Starlight Road or something like that, it doesn't really work too well, but Dimensional Prison just removes it from play. Then 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, another good card, removes the monster from play. 2 Fiendish Chains, 2 Torrential Tributes, 2 Solemn Warning, and finally a Solemn Judgment and a Starlight Road. So that's it for the main deck, it's 41 cards. Here's the extra deck. Got 1 Stardust Dragon for the Starlight Road, of course. 2 Evil's Arlagia and 2 Evil's Ardolka. These 2 are really good. Evil's Arlagia is almost like a Solemn Judgment. It can negate almost anything besides like flip effects and counter traps and stuff like that. Evil's Ardolka is like a Divine Wrath. It can negate any monster effects, so it's really good. And some more rank 4s. Number 39 Utopia. Photon Papillo Operative, Maystroke the Symphony to Jin, Gaga Cowboy, and Abyss Dweller. Then for the 3s, got Levier, you can bring back Banished Rescue Rabbit, Wind Up Zen Mains, Tempo, number 17 Leviathan Dragon, and finally number 30 Acid Golem. So that's it for the deck, thanks for watching. Hey everyone, I got a deck profile on my Macro Rabbit deck. So let's start off with the monsters. First of all, I got the 2 Rescue Rabbit, and the 6 normal monsters, 3 Abazols, then 3 Sabersaurus, then 3 Jiraguaiba. That's it for the dinosaurs. 2 Tour Guides, Sangin and Night Assailant to go with it, and then 2 Spear Reapers, and finally Neospatian Grand Mole. That's it for the monsters. Here are the spells. 1 Heavy Storm, 1 Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Book of Moon, 2 Mystical Space Typhoons, then 3 Forbidden Lands. So not too many spells, but those are it. Then for the traps, 2 Macrocosmos, 2 Fiendish Chains, 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Torrential Tribute, 2 Dimensional Prisons, 2 Solemn Warning, 1 Solemn Judgment, and finally 1 Starlight Road. That's it for the deck. It's 41 cards. Here's the extra deck. 1 Stardust Dragon for your Starlight Road, 2 Evil's Arlagia for the Rabbit plays and the Jiraguaiba. You can also overlay the normal monsters when you normal summon them. 2 Dolkas as well, 1 Photon Papillo Operative, 1 Gaga Cowboy, number 39 Utopia, Maystroke the Symphony to Jin, 2 Levier the Sea Dragon to bring back your banished Rescue Rabbit, 1 Wind Up Zen Mains, 1 Tempo, 1 Leviathan Dragon, and finally 1 Acid Golem. That's it for the deck profile. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, just want to show you guys my Macro Rabbit deck for the September 2012 format. So here's the monsters. Start off with 2 Rescue Rabbit, of course. Then the normal monsters, 3 Sabersaurus, 3 Cabazols, then the Guaiba, it's really good. 2 Spear Reapers, then the Tour Guide engine, 2 Tour Guides, 1 Night Assailant, then 1 Sangin, then 1 Grand Mole, really good card. That's it for the monsters. Here are the spells. Book of Moon, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 of them, and then 3 Forbidden Lands. That's it for the spells. Here are the traps. 2 Macrocosmos, of course, 2 Dimensional Prisons, 2 Fiendish Chains, 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Torrential Tributes, 2 Solemn Warnings, 1 Solemn Judgment, 1 Starlight Road. That's it for the traps. Show you guys the extra deck right here. 1 Stardust Dragon for your Starlight Road, 2 Evil's Arlagia, 2 Evil's Ardolka, Photon Papillo Operative, Gaga Cowboy, number 39 Utopia, and Maystroke the Symphony to Jin. Then for the 3s, Levier the Sea Dragon, 2 of them, Wind Up Zen Mains, Acid Golem, Leviathan Dragon, and Tempo. So that's it for the deck. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, today I want to do the deck profile on my Rockstun deck. It's a really cheap deck to make, and it's also really good. So I'll show you guys the monsters first. The boss monster would be Grand Soil, the Elemental Lord. Only one of him, because It does take 5 Earths, and you can somewhat manipulate the number of Earths in your graveyard, but usually when you summon him, you're going for game. And the only negative part about this is when he leaves the field, you have to skip your next battle phase. So other than that, he's pretty good. Its effect is when he's summoned, you can special summon any monster in the graveyard, so pretty much a monster reborn, and he's 2,800 attack points. So one of him, he's Earth Beast Warrior, and then 1 Neospatian Grand Mole, just a really good card. Not that high in attack points, but it's really good effect. Effect is when it's attacking, both monsters return to the hand, so if it's like a Synchro, Exceed, or Fusion, it returns to the extra deck, so it's really good for getting rid of those. And then 1 Morphing Jar, it can recycle your hand if you have a really bad hand, or it can give you lots of pluses if you don't have that many cards in your hand, your opponent has a bunch of cards, they were saving them to make a big play, it ruins their play and everything. Also, if you're playing against like an Exodia deck, this completely ruins them, so 1 Morphing Jar. And then 2 Gaia Plate, the Earth Giant. This is a really good card. 2,800 attack points, 1,000 defense points. You can special summon this card by removing from play 2 rock-type monsters in your graveyard. So it does not have to be special summoned, but it can be special summoned that way. And during each of your standby phases, you have to remove from play 1 rock-type monster in your graveyard, or else it's destroyed, so that's the cost. And the effect is any monster that battles with this card, it gets their attack and defense halved. So your opponent pretty much has to summon a monster with over 5,600 attack in order to destroy this card. This is a very good card, and especially since you're playing with a lot of rock types. Pretty much all the monsters are rock types except Grand Soil. You can pretty much get this guy out pretty easily. It's a really good card. And then 2 Fossil Dynas pretty much negates any special summoning, and when it's flipped face up, destroy all special summon monsters on the field. I don't like playing with too many of these because I do special summon quite a bit in my deck, but 2 of them just in case your opponent's playing like a really big swarming deck, and if it's like first turn they attack into it, pretty much they go minus a lot. So it's a really good card here. And then 2 Gigantes, another really good card. Its effect is it can only be special summoned by removing from play 1 Earth type monster in your graveyard. So this can only be special summoned, can't be normal summon or anything. And also, when this card is destroyed and sent to the graveyard as a result of battle, destroy all spell and trap cards on the field. So if you don't have a lot of spell or traps, or you don't have any, and your opponent has a bunch of them, you can discard into your opponent's monster, destroys all the spell and trap cards. So a pretty good card, plus it's 1900 attack, and you can special summon him. Next up, 2 Legendary Jujutsu Master. It's 1300 attack and 1800 defense. The effect is, at the end of the damage step, when your opponent attacks into this monster, it returns to the top of their deck. So if it's like a Synchro, Exceed, or Fusion, it returns to their extra deck. So a pretty good card. Your opponent just really doesn't expect this and they just go attack, and it's like, alright, see ya. Okay, so next up, 2 Black Golem. This is a relatively new card, came out in Return of the Duelist. It's 1000 attack and 1500 defense, and its effect is, if all the monsters in your graveyard are Earth, you contribute this card to target 2 level 4 or lower rock-type monsters in your graveyard except Black Golem, and special summon those targets. However, their effects cannot activate on the field this turn, so it's a really good card. You're playing a lot of Earths, pretty much all Earths in your deck, and almost all rock-type monsters, and you're playing with a bunch of monsters that are really good. I'll get to that later. So you contribute this card, special summon 2 of them, and it manipulates the amount of Earths in your graveyard. So only 2 of them, because really 3, and if you draw like 3 on your first turn, it's not that good, but late in the game, it is really good. Next up, 3 Kawakamaru Walls. The first Kawakamaru, they're all 1900 attack, 1200 defense, rock type, and also Earth. Its effect is, during each of your end phases, you have to reveal 1 rock type monster, or send 1 Iron Core of the Kawakamaru from your hand to the graveyard. Usually, you'll do the second effect, because you're playing with mostly all rocks, and Iron Core of the Kawakamaru just doesn't work in this deck. And its effect is you contribute it to negate the activation of an opponent's spell card and destroy it. So this one negates spell cards and destroys them. Kawakamaru Wall. Next up is Kawakamaru Sandman, 3 of them. This one's just like the Kawakamaru Wall, except it negates the opponent's trap card and destroys it. It's also 1900 attack, 1200 defense, rock type, and earth, and you also have to reveal 1 rock monster at your end phase. So that's for traps. And next up, for the monster effects, there is Kawakamaru Guardian. So we run 3 of him, also 1900 attack, 1200 defense, rock type Earth. Its effect is you can tribute this card to negate the effect of an opponent's monster and destroy that monster. You also have to reveal one rock type monster at the end phase. So you pretty much can negate your opponent's spells, traps, and monster effects. And also when it's destroyed and sent to the graveyard, you can use Black Golem to revive them. So a really good loop there. And then next up, 3 Go Giants. They are 2000 attack, 0 defense, rock type, and earth. And their effect is that when this card is normal summon, you can target one go monster in your graveyard, special summon that target in face-up defense position, then change this card to defense position. If this card attacks, it is changed to defense position at the end of the battle phase. So it's 2000 attack. It can get over like Thunder King and Doom Caliber Knights, and also if you have one in your graveyard, you can normal summon one, special summon the other one, then overlay and exceed summon. So it's a pretty good card. So that's it for the monsters there. Next up for the spell cards. So first of all, 2 Solidarity. It's a really good card. If you don't know the effect, it is if you only have one original type of monster in your graveyard, face-up monsters you control with the same type gain 800 attack. So pretty much most of my monsters are rock type except Grand Soil, but pretty much you shouldn't ever have Grand Soil in the graveyard, only really when you're going for game. So this is a really good card. Increases the attack of all your monsters by 800, and it does stack. So if you have 2 of them, it increases by 1600. So very good card. Then the staples here, I play 3 Mystical Space Typhoon just to get rid of back row, because back row can really hurt this deck, even though you can pretty much negate the activation of spells and traps by attributing your Kuwakamerus. And then Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, and Dark Hole, self-explanatory, just staples, you run them in pretty much every deck. And also a card that I like to run, Burden of the Mighty. It's a pretty good card. Effect is that each face-up monster your opponent controls loses 100 attack times its own level. So if it's level 4, it loses 400 attack, level 5, 500 attack, and so on. This is a pretty good card. Pretty much your opponent has a hard time getting over the Kuwakamerus unless they exceed someone or something like that. So this is a pretty good card. I only run 1 of it though. And then that's it for the spells. Next up for the traps. First of all, a Starlight Road, protect your back row. Your opponent really does not expect it, so it's a pretty good card. Its effect is when an effect would destroy 2 or more cards that you control and negate the effect, and then destroy it. And you can also special summon 1 Stardust Dragon from your extra deck. And then 2 Mirror Force right here. You know, a pretty good card. When your opponent attacks, destroy all of the attack position monsters. So a good card right there. And then 2 Compulsory. Really self-explanatory, works really good. Its effect is returns 1 card on the field to the owner's hand, so if it's like an Exceed, Synchro, or Fusion, returns to their extra deck. So if you're facing up against a wind-up Zen mains, you can get rid of that pretty easily, or a high-level monster or something, get rid of that. So Compulse is very good. And then 1 Torrential Tribute. Yeah, it's only 1 because of all those swarming decks out there now, and you don't really want to play a lot of them because you will probably have a lot of monsters, so it might make you go minus. It's only 1 of them, so that's the deck right there. Unfortunately, I don't have a side deck yet, but in the side deck you would just have a bunch of rank 4s and Stardust Dragon for your Starlight Road, but keep in mind that Black Golem and Solidarity, you have them in your deck, so if you do have an extra deck, try playing with like Gem Knight Pearl, and Stardust Dragon, you might not even need that because it will mess up your Black Golem and Solidarity, but that's the deck right there, really cheap to make. You can get it for a really great deal. I got this deck for a great deal. So if you're interested in making this deck, good luck with everything, and thanks for watching. Hey YouTube, we got a deck today. It's going to be a Dark World Turbo deck. So I'll show you guys the cards in here. Most of them are first edition, and all the cards are mint to near mint condition. So yeah, first of all, 3 Graphas. They're first edition from the structure deck. Then 3 Brows. They're rare from Elemental Energy. And then 3 Snows, super rare from the structure deck. And then 2 Silva, common from the Gold Series. And 1 Beige, common from Elemental Energy. That's it for the Dark World monsters. Some other monsters here. 1 Fabled Raven from Battle Pack. And then 2 Trance Archfiend from Order of Chaos. So that's it for the monsters right there. Here are the spells. First of all, 3 Drag Down to the Grave. They're common from Dark Crisis. And then 3 Dark World Dealings, common from the structure deck. And also 3 Gates of Dark World, common from the structure deck. And then 3 Upstart Goblins, common. These are from different sets. This one's from Dark Beginning 1, this one's from the demo pack, and this one's from Dark Beginning 1. And then some other spells right here actually. Dark Hole, it's common from Starter Deck Kaiba. Monster Reborn, common from Starter Deck Pegasus. Card Destruction, super rare from the Starter Deck Yugi Evolution. Heavy Storm, common from 5D Starter Deck. Foolish Burial, common from Structure Deck Merrick. Allure of Darkness, common from the Structure Deck. And then here are the traps. 3 Reckless Greed, 2 of them are Starfoil, 1 of them is common from the Battle Pack. 2 Mind Crush, one is from Soul of the Duelist, the other one's from the Structure Deck, both are common. And then Deck Devastation Virus, rare from Champion Pack. And then super rare Eradicator Epidemic Virus from the Duelist Genesis Special Edition. So that's it for the deck right there. So here are some extra deck cards. The extra deck isn't complete, it's just some cards that the deck can make. So first of all, number 39 Utopia Ultra Rare from the starter deck. Number 16 Shockmaster from the Collector's Tin, super rare. Gagagigo the Risen, rare from the Abyss Rising, it's the newest set. And then number 17 Leviathan Dragon, common from Battle Pack. So yeah, that's the deck. Thanks for watching. Hey everyone, I got 2 decks. I have an Evil Storm deck and a Prophecy deck, and I'll show you guys the cards in the decks. So start off with the Evil Storm deck, show you the main deck. There's 2 Rescue Rabbits, 3 Evil Storm Heliotrope, 3 Evil Storm Caster, 3 Evil Storm Mandragora, 3 Evil Storm Thunderbird, 2 Tour Guide, and then for the spells, Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Book of Moon, Reinforcement of the Army, and then there is the 2 Mystical Space Typhoon, 2 Forbidden Dress, super rare, and 3 Infestation Pandemic. And then for the traps, there's Infestation Infection, Starlight Road, Solemn Warning, Solemn Judgment, 2 Compulsory Evacuation Device, 2 Bottomless Trap Hole, 2 Mirror Force, 2 Dimensional Prison, and 3 Venus Chain. So that's it for the main deck of the Evil Storm. Here's the extra and side deck. So for the extra deck, there's 3 Evil Storm Ophion, and 2 Evil Storm Bahamut, then 1 Evil Storm Ouroboros, and then for the other rank 4s, Maystroke, Photon Papilloperative, Utopia, and Gemini Pearl. And for the rank 3s, Levier, Leviathan, and Zenmaines. So that's it for the extra deck. Here is the side deck. There is 2 Snowman Eater, 2 System Down, 3 Dimensional Fissure, 2 Eradicator Epidemic Virus, super rare, 2 Soul Drain, and 2 Mind Crush, and lastly 2 Gozen Mitch. So yeah, that's it for the Evil Storm deck. Then I'll show you guys the Prophecy deck. Put this to the side first. So for the Prophecy deck, it is pretty much a complete Prophecy deck. It's only missing the Spellbook of Judgment. It is a build for the Spellbook of Judgment, so it's only missing that, but other than that, it is complete. It has the Toon Table of Contents, Upstart Goblins, and everything else you would need. So I'll show you guys the cards in the deck. Start off with 3 High Priestess. These are Secret Rare Unlimited. There's 3 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, Ultra Rare, 2 Temperance, Super Rare, 1 Justice, Common, 2 Ultra Rare Breakers. These are both from Magician's Force, so that's pretty cool. Super Rare, Toon Gemini Elf, 2 Super Rare Effect Veilers, and then for the spells, it's going to be a lot of them, of course, because it's Spellbooks, Prophecies, 3 Toon Table of Contents, 2 Rare, 1 Common, 3 Upstart Goblins, there's 2 Ultra and 1 Common, 3 Spellbook of Secrets, Ultra Rare, 2 Spellbook of the Master's Secret, 2 Spellbook of Power, Common, 2 Spellbook of Wisdom, Rare, 2 Spellbook of Fate, Ultra Rare, 2 Grand Spellbook Tower, Secret Rare, 1 Spellbook of Life, Super Rare, Spellbook of Eternity, Rare, Monster Reborn, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, and then for the traps, just 3 Threatening Roar, Common. So yeah, that's it for the Prophecy deck. Show you guys the extra deck and the side deck. The extra deck is small, so but it does work. There's 1 Hierophant of Prophecy, Ultimate Rare, 2 Gachi Gachi, Super Rare, Shining Elf, and Tempest Magician. So that's it for the extra deck. Here's the side deck. It's also a small side deck, but it's good. 2 Raikos, 2 Kaiku, and then 3 Royal Decree. So yeah, that's it for the Prophecy deck. But other than that, thanks for watching. Hey everyone, I got my first tournament diary, my first Yu-Gi-Oh tournament. I played at my local today. I played Macro Rabbit. I'll show you guys my deck list, and then I'll discuss my matchups. So for the deck list, main deck, got 2 Rescue Rabbits, 3 Sabersaurus, 3 Cabazols, pretty standard Rabbit engine. I got 2 Tour Guides and Night Assailant, then double Thunder King and double Spirit Reaper. I did not play Jarek Waiba because I didn't have them, but I bought them, so when they arrive, I'll probably switch out some cards for them. Then the last monster and Neospatian Grand Mole. And then for the spells, got 1 Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, and Monster Reborn. The Trinity, then 3 Forbidden Lands, and lastly 2 MST for the spells. And then for the traps, I got 2 Macrocosmos, because it's Macro Rabbit, really good card, 2 Bottomless, 2 Mirror Force, 2 Compulsory, 2 Fiendish Chain, 3 Dimensional Prisons, Solemn Judgment, Solemn Warning, then 2 Starlight Roads. So that's it for the main deck. I believe it's 41 cards. I have the extra deck here. I got 2 Lagia, 2 Dulka, Abyss Dweller, Utopia, Maystroke, Black Ship, Gemini Pearl, Temtempo, Leviathan Dragon, Leviair, Wind Up Zenmains, and then 2 Stardust Dragons. 15 card extra deck, and then for my side deck, I played 1 Gores, 2 Fossil Dyna, 2 Snowman Eater, 2 Gemini Imps, MST, 2 Soul Takers, 2 Nobleman of Crossout, 2 Chain Disappearance, and lastly, Macrocosmos. So then I'll discuss my matchups. First match, I played against Noble Knights. I won against that deck pretty easy, 2-0'd. The guy was playing this sort of Chaos version. He had a BLS, and he was playing the Artorgus as well as some other normals like Alexander Dragon. So pretty easy matchup for me. I had macros, so the deck is sort of graveyard reliant, so it helped me a lot, Macrocosmos. Round 2, I played against Windups. I won that round as well, 2-1. Guy I was playing against, he was playing like a Fire Fist version. He had 3 Tenkies, so he was playing bears in his Windup deck. He also was playing 2 Cards, and then just the standard Windup engine, like the 1 Magician, because that one, then the Sharks, and the Rats, and the Rabbits. First game, I had Rabbit, Tour Guide, and Lands, so I got Lagia first turn. Second turn, I got Leviair. Then went into another Lagia, I think, because I negated something with my first one, and then he just scooped that one. Second game, he got a Tyrus pretty early, so I couldn't really do anything against that. I couldn't draw a monster. I managed to get rid of his entire field, because I had a face-down Fossil Dyna, and he flipped it face-up with a Photon Papilloperative. Then he destroyed it, and then he got a Wind-Up Rabbit, and I just couldn't really do anything, so I lost that match. And then third game 3, I believe I got Rabbit a couple turns later, but first time I summoned Sabersaurus, and then I just normal summoned, and then I got into Lagia, and then pretty much he couldn't really do anything because he couldn't draw a monster. He did have a Tenki, but I chained MST to Tenki, so he didn't get the search, and he couldn't draw a monster after that, so I pretty much beat him. Round 3, I played against Heroes. I lost that matchup, 0-2. The guy opened Heavy Storm both games. Like he went first game 1, he got Heavy Storm, then I went first game 2, and he also Heavy Stormed me, so that hurt a lot because I had like Bottomless and Deep Prison face down. And then game 2, he also end phase Royal Decree after turn 2 or 3, so my back row was Starlight Road, Macrocosmos, and Deep Prison, so it really hurt me a lot. I couldn't draw a monster, and when I did, he just Torrential. Every time I summoned Rabbit and went into Cabazols, he also Torrentialed, so that hurt me a lot, so I lost that matchup. Round 4 I played against Fire King. I won against that because Fire King, they're reliant on the graveyard for when the monsters go to the graveyard. So I had the macro, so it hurt him a lot, and I was able to beat him. I think the guy was new because he had to read all my card effects. Like when I used Mirror Force, he also had to read that, but it was an okay matchup, I guess. Yeah, 4 rounds in total. I got top 4 out of 10 people. In the end, we just decided to split, and got $10 store credit, so really cool. My first local tournament or Yu-Gi-Oh tournament in general. So yeah, thanks for watching. I'll be sure to make tournament diary every time I finish a tournament. Thanks. Hey YouTube, doing a quick profile today of Rockstun. I'll show you guys the cards in this deck. First of all, we have the Neospatian Grand Mole. It's a really good card. Bounce both cards that you're attacking to the hand. It's great on Exceeds and Synchros or high level monsters. One Morphing Jar. It's good if you don't have a lot of cards in your hand, can give you lots of pluses. Also, if your opponent saved a lot of cards in their hand, disrupts their plays by a lot. And your 2 boss monsters, Gaia played the Earth Giant and Grand Soil the Elemental Lord. Gaia playd's really good because any monster that battles with it gets their attack and defense halved. And then Grand Soil is good because you can special summon any monster, so it's like a free monster reborn. And the downsides to both of these, this one you have to remove from play 1 rock type monster or it's destroyed. And this one, when it leaves the field, you have to skip your next battle phase. But other than that, it's really good. And they're both 2800 attack, so they're both pretty decent attack. Then Max C's, basically if you're playing against a deck that swarms a lot, special summons a lot, you can get a lot of pluses. Just discard it and you can draw a bunch of cards. Black Golem, you contribute it, special summon 2 level 4 lower rock type monsters, and since you're playing with all earths, you should be able to do that. 2 legendary Jujutsu Masters. When your opponent attacks it at the end of the damage step, the monster returns it back to the top of the deck. And that's it for the rock monsters. And then the Karakameiros here, they're also rock type, and these are really good here. They're basically almost all the same. They all have 1900 attack and 1200 defense, and nearly the same effects. The Kawakameru Guardian, its effect is you contribute it to negate the monster's effect and destroy it. Kawakameru Sandman is you contribute it to negate the trap card and destroy it. And then Kawakameru Wall is negate the spell card and destroy it. So they're pretty much all the same effects, just different. Like this one's for monster effects, this one's for traps, and this one's for spells. And the downside to these are you have to reveal 1 rock type monster in your hand or it's destroyed. But since you're playing with mostly all rocks, it should be fine. Then the spells right here, Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Monster Reborn, Book of Moon, just staples. Mystical Space Typhoon to get rid of back row, and not too many spells, but traps right here. Bottomless Trap Hole, Mirror Force, Solemn Warning, Charge of Tribute, and the Huge Revolution is over. I like this better than Starlight Road because it's more versatile. It's just 2 cards on the field, not 2 or more cards you control. So, and also the card is banished. And with Starlight Road, if you special summon Stardust Dragon and it's in your graveyard, Stardust Dragon's not Earth type, so it might disrupt some of your plays. And then Compulsory, very good trap card. That's the main deck, 21 monsters, 7 spells, and 12 traps. Here's the extra deck, or side deck I mean. First, 3 Kinetic Soldiers, good against 6 Samurais or Heroes. Crimson Ninjas, good against trap heavy decks. Fossil Dyna, good against the Swarm decks. Skill Drain. Most of the cards in your deck still work under Skill Drain, like Kawakameros, Legendary Jujutsu Masters, Maxis. They still work under Skill Drain, so if your opponent's playing a deck that relies heavily on the monster effects, you can side these. And then Dimensional Fissure against like Dark Worlds, or if your opponent's playing a deck that relies heavily on the graveyard, you can use these. In the extra deck, Giant Soldier of Steel, Silver Mountain, Temtempo with the Percussion to Jin, Gemini Pearl, Fairy King Alverditch, and Timplay Archduke. I don't really make any of the cards in my extra deck too much because pretty much their effects are really good, so don't need to make them. So that's it for the deck profile. I'll be recording some duels with it, so thanks for watching. Hey everyone, just want to show you guys my anti-meta deck. So I'll start off. First of all, we got a Neospatian Grand Mole. It's a really good card, especially on Synchros, Xyz, or high-level monsters. You can return both to the hand. Then Blackluster Soldier, really good card. Run a lot of lights and darks, so it's easy to get out. And you can attack twice a turn or banish 1 card. Then Gore is basically to stop OTKs, and it's a really good card early game. Tsukiyomi, target 1 card on the field, flip it face down. So it can be good if your opponent's monster has less defense, or if it's face down it can't activate its effect, so that's pretty good on that. And you can keep reusing it because it's a spirit monster, it returns to your hand. 1 Blackwing Gale the Whirlwind. It's really good because once per turn you can halve the attack and defense of 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, and it's also a tuner. And you got the Tour Guide, Sangan Knight Assailant. Basically the Tour Guide, you can special summon 1 level 3 or lower fiend type, or just level 3, not lower,
one level 3 Fiend type monster from your hand or deck, so you can special summon another Torgai or a Sangan, Exceed for these monsters here. I'll get into that later. So basically, the Torgai, Sangan, Night Assailant go together, plus the Sangan, you can use it to search out monsters, and Night Assailant's effect is flip and select one monster your opponent controls and destroy it. Then a personal tech choice of mine, Dark Resonator. I like it because first of all, it's a tuner, and it's also a fiend, so you can also use it with the Torgai from the Underworld, because you can special summon one level 3 fiend type monster, and also its effect is once per turn if this card will be destroyed by battle, it is not destroyed, so it takes your opponent 2 attacks to destroy it. Then 2 Breakers, really good card. Destroy 1, spell a trap. Thunder King, good card. Negates the special summon and 1900 attack. DD Warrior Lady, it's a good card. Attack your opponent's monster, banish both. I like using it against Zenmains or Gachi or Stardust. Cyber Dragon, you can special summon it when your opponent controls a monster you don't control any, so you can special summon this, then normal summon this, then Synchro for Stardust Dragon. So this is a level 5, then that's 3. Stardust Dragon's 8. That's a really good move. Then Effect Veilers, there are tuners, and during your opponent's main phase, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and then basically their monster's effect is negated. And then 2 Marshmallow, just because they can't be destroyed by battle. And when your opponent attacks a face down, they take 1000 damage, so you can stall behind these if you need to. So that's it for the monsters. A lot of darks here, and a lot of lights, so you have a good chance of summoning Blackluster Soldier. So the spells: Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Heavy Storm, and Scapegoat. I like using Scapegoat because you can stall out. Your opponent might think, oh, he doesn't have any monsters, gonna try to go for a game, and then you activate Scapegoat. Then 3 Mystical Space Typhoons just to get rid of the back row. 2 Mirror Force, 2 Solemn Warning. I don't like running Solemn Judgment just because you have to pay half your life points, which early in the game is a lot. Then 2 Bottomless Trap Holes, 2 Compulsory, one of the best trap cards in the game, in my opinion, because you can just return a Synchro, return Xyz, basically just like the Grand Mole. And then Starlight Robe to protect your back row and special summon a Stardust Dragon. So in total, run 23 monsters, 7 spells, and 10 traps. So for the extra deck, 1 Allied Justice Catastor. It's good if your opponent doesn't use a lot of dark monsters, and you can make it with Effect Veiler and another level 4. And then Flamveil, your Quizaz. It's a level 6, so its effect is it does piercing damage, and every time it battles, it gains 300 attack. That's pretty good if your opponent has like a Spirit Reaper or something. Then Iron Chain Dragon. That's another 6, and its effect is when it attacks your opponent and it inflicts battle damage, your opponent sends the top 3 cards of their deck to the graveyard, so basically get rid of your opponent's cards. And then Black Rose Dragon, just to destroy all monsters on the field, it's a 7. And then 2 Stardust, because you can make Stardust, and you can also use Starlight Road to summon Stardust. 1 Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon for your Cyber Dragons. Your opponent's playing a machine deck, this is really good against them. Then number 17, Leviathan Dragon, and wind up Zenmains for the 3s here. Leviathan Dragon is 2000 attack, and its effect is you can detach 1 Xyz material monster for it to gain 500 attack. And then Zenmains is, if it will be destroyed, you can detach 1, and if its effect is used, you can target 1 card on the field and destroy it. And make sure if your opponent uses like a Dark Hole, and then you detach 1, and then he ends his turn, you have to destroy 1 of your own cards, so be careful when using that, you have to use its effect. And then Photon Papilloperative, it's really good. Your opponent's playing like a defensive strategy, you can detach 1 Xyz material to target 1 defense position monster, change it to attack position, and it loses 600 attack. Then 1 number 50, Black Ship of Corn. The effect is you detach 1 Xyz material monster, and then target 1 monster your opponent controls with less attack, send it to the graveyard, and your opponent loses 1000 life points, but it can't attack. Then Utopia, when it declares an attack, or any monster declares an attack, you detach 1 Xyz material, negate the attack. And then Utopia Ray for the Utopia. 1 Maestro, just because you can detach 1 Xyz material monster to target 1 face-up attack position monster your opponent controls, and change it to face-down defense position, and if it would be destroyed, you can detach 1 Xyz material. And then Shockmaster, you don't really make this a lot, but it's pretty good. It takes 3 level 4s, and its effect is you can detach 1 Xyz material to declare 1 card type, monster, spell, or trap, and that card type cannot be activated or used until the end of your opponent's next turn. So then for the side deck, 3 Gemini Imps against Dark Worlds, 3 Kinetic Soldiers against 6 Samurai and Heroes, Fossil Dyna against decks that swarm a lot, King Tiger Wangu, it's a really good card against like Wind-Ups or any other deck that uses not too high level monsters, Royal Decree for trap heavy decks, and Dimensional Figure for Dark Worlds and a bunch of other decks. So yeah, that's it for the deck. I'll be recording some duels rules. So thanks for watching and have a great day. Hey everyone, just doing a deck profile today on Chaos Agents. It's similar to Simon He's deck that he used in the recent YCSs. So I'll start off with the monsters. First of all, I got the Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning, and the Chaos Sorcerer, the 2 Chaos monsters. Then the 3 Master Hyperion, 3 Agent of Creation Venus, as well as 2 Agent of Mystery Earth to search out the Venus. Then 3 Mystical Shineball for your Venus. Then Honest, and 2 Raiko, 2 Thunder King, 2 Spirit Reaper, 2 Tour Guides, 1 Sangan, 1 Night Assailant, 2 Tragoideas, 1 Gores, 1 DD Crow, 2 Herald of Orange Lights, 2 Effect Veilers, and 2 Maxis. That's it for the monsters. There are a total of 31 monsters. Then for the spells, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn, Mind Control, and 3 Mystical Space Typhoons, and 2 Forbidden Lands, and the only trap is a Treacherous Trap Hole. That's it for the main deck. I'll show you guys the side deck. 1 Cyber Dragon, as well as Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon, 2 Snowman Eaters, 2 Gemini Imps, 2 Electric Virus, 2 Puppet Plants, Return from the Different Dimension, 2 Royal Decrees, and 2 Nobleman of Crossout. Then for the extra deck, Armory Arm, Allied Justice Catastor, Iron Chain Dragon, God Knight the Force of Earth, Black Rose Dragon, Stardust Dragon, Miss Worm, Gachi Gachi, 2 of them, Daigusto Phoenix, Dark Mist, Leviathan Dragon, Leviair, Zenmains, and Acid Golem. So I'll explain to you guys some things here. So first of all, I got the boss monsters here. The Blackluster Soldier, Chaos Sorcerer, and the 3 Hyperions. It's very easy to summon all of them. For Blackluster Soldier and Chaos Sorcerer, all you need to do is banish 1 light and 1 dark from your graveyard. And for Master Hyperion, all you gotta do is banish 1 agent type monster from your graveyard. So you can banish Venus and Earth to special summon it. So very easy to get out. Then the Venus, of course, for your Master Hyperion plays, also you get to special summon Mystical Shineball, which you can go to rank 2 exceeds. For example, Gachi Gachi, Daigusto Phoenix, or number 96 Dark Mist. And it does cost 500 life points to special summon a Mystical Shine Ball. Then to Earth to search out your Venus, because when Earth is normal summon, you can add 1 agent monster, sort of like an Elemental Hero Stratos for the hero decks. Then the 3 Mystical Shine Balls for Venus, of course. 1 Honest, because you're playing a lot of lights here, including like Thunder King, so you can use Honest. It's very good. Your opponent definitely does not expect it. Then 2 Raikos. I think this is very good because you can target any card on the field. So you can target a spell, trap, field spell, or any monster and destroy it. Then you send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. So it's good for getting out of like tough situations if you don't have any spells, or your opponent, they have like a Naturia Beast or Legendary 6 Samurai Shiin. Good for getting rid of those situations. And 2 Thunder Kings, very good card. Negates special summonings, and neither player can add cards from the deck to your hand. So be careful if you have this out and you summon this, you won't get the effect. So be careful on that. 2 Spirit Reapers just for the stall power. It's also dark, and when you attack, you can discard 1 card from your opponent's hand, so that's decent, I guess. Then 2 Tour Guides, Sangan and Night Assailant, the Tour Guide engine. Summon this, go into rank 3s. Usually I just summon a Tour Guide, go into another Tour Guide, because I don't mind drawing a Sangan or Night Assailant, because they're very good cards. So I overlay this. Usually it's always for a Zen mains. Sometimes Acid Golem if they have like a Shien or something out and I need to get over it. So there we go. And then 2 Tragoideas and a Gores. They're very good. Tragoidea gains 600 attack for every card in your hand. Usually you'll have a bunch of cards in your hand, at least 4 I would say, so it's good. You can also discard a monster and take control of your opponent's monster at the same level. And also Gores, very good too. Since only 1 trap, it's very unpredictable. So when you take damage, you can special summon a token and you get the 2700 attacker. Then 1 DD Crow, this is good because it's dark and it's good against a bunch of decks. If you're playing against Dark Worlds, you can discard it to banish Grapha. If your opponent has a light and dark, you discard this to banish their light or dark so they can't go for a Blackluster Soldier or Chaos Sorcerer. Then 2 of the Herald of Orange Light, really good card. When your opponent activates the effect, you just have to discard this card along with 1 fairy type monster, and it negates it and destroys it. So your opponent definitely does not expect this. It's a really good card here. 2 Effect Veilers, standard. They're really good against pretty much almost anything. Then 2 Maxis for the decks that special summon a lot, like Wind Ups and other decks like Samurais maybe. So that's it for the monsters. Then the standard spells, Heavy Storm, Dark Hole, Monster Reborn. Then 1 Mind Control to take your opponent's monsters. You can also synchro and exceed with them. 3 Mystical Space Typhoons, just because of all the back row, and the back row really does hurt this deck. For example, a bottomless trap hole would really hurt, a solemn warning would really hurt, so just get rid of those. Forbidden Lance, good to activate in the battle phase. Your opponent activates Mirror Force or Dimensional Prison, or when you summon and they activate Bottomless, you can use that, save your monster. And then one trap, Treacherous Trap Hole, destroys 2 monsters on the field, and you can't activate it if you have any other trap cards in your graveyard, but this is the only trap card, so you shouldn't have any. That's it for the main deck. Then for the side deck, one Cyber Dragon for the machine matchups like Geargias, then Chimera Tech Fortress to go with it, 2 Snowman Eaters against Dino Rabbit, it's good to get rid of Lagia, 2 Gemini Imps for Dark Worlds, 2 Electric Virus for Chaos Dragons, or Machina, Geargia, anything. You discard it, you can take control of one face-up machine or dragon type monster from your opponent until the end of the turn. And Puppet Plant for the warrior spellcasters, so like the heroes or samurais, you can take those. 1 return from the different dimension, because a lot of people are siding Macrocosmos or Dimensional Fissure, so this is really good, and it's really unpredictable. 2 Royal Decrees against the trap-heavy decks like Chain Burn or Exodia, and 2 Nobleman of Crossouts against like Chaos Dragons use it on their Raikou, Geargias use it on their Geargia armor, and yeah, you can use this in a lot of ways. Use it on their like Sangan if you think they have a set Sangan. Then for the extra deck, Armory Arm, it's level 4, so you can use your Mystery Earth or Mystical Shine Ball, make it. Then Catastra, you can use your Agent of Creation Venus and Earth to make it. Iron Chain Dragon and Gaia the Force of Earth, there are 6s, so you can summon Venus and then special summon 2 of the Shine Balls. Then if you had Earth last turn, you can synchro for a 6. Then Black Rose, you can synchro with the Agent of Creation Venus, Earth, and a Mystical Shine Ball to create it. Stardust Dragon, you can synchro with like a Thunder King, Agent of Mystery Earth, and Mystical Shine Ball to make it. Then a Mistworm, synchro with the Agent of Creation Venus, Agent of Mystery Earth, and 2 Shine Balls to make it. Then that's it for the synchros here. Exceeds, 2 Gachis for your Shine Balls, for your Agent of Mystery Earths and the Raikous. 1 Daigusto Phoenix if you're attacking. Pretty much this, it's really good. You detach 1 Exceeds material, target 1 face-up wind monster, it can attack twice, and this is wind, so you can target itself. A Dark Mist, it takes 3 level 2 monsters, and its effect is once per turn during either player's turn when an attack is declared involving this card and opponent's monster. You can detach 1 Exceeds material from this card, half the attack of the opponent's monster, and this card gains the same amount of attack, so pretty much it can't be destroyed by battle because it always gains 100 more attack points than the opponent's monster. Then number 17, Leviathan Dragon for the tour guide. Sangan, you can also overlay the Agent of Creation Venus and the Spirit Reapers if you need to. Just a beater, I guess. Leviair for your banished or your opponent's banished monsters. Zen Maidens, good stall power. And then Acid Golem to get you out of tough situations. Be careful when using this because you can't special summon, and during each of your standby phases you have to detach 1 Exceeds material or take 2000 damage, and if this does not have any Exceeds materials you can't attack, so definitely be careful when using this deck. So that's it for the deck, guys. I might be recording a few duels. Thanks for watching and hope you enjoyed.